Welcome back, everybody. Here we are on this wonderful Friday evening for another edition of the Casa SFV Showdown. I'm the Doctor, being joined by none other than the man who's been gone for a while, but they've come back. It's once again none other than Brad, Mastodon Masters Muse. How you doing today, Brad?
Ooh, I'm doing good. I'm about that. I'm gonna have to bump some Crack the Sky later. One of my favorite bands. So, super sick. Not quite unlike this top 8 that we got repping for you guys. Tortilla Jones versus Shine, and Punk versus Destructive waiting on the winner's side. Opposite them in the loser side is Sevens versus Carlton Banks, and Mylin versus Profit. We talked for a moment before it went live, but we decided to just jump right in the interest of everybody. So I have to ask to the masses, Flex Waves, where you at?
Listen,
It's rare that I'm so used to seeing you in a bracket and then just being like, yeah, cool, and then I'll see you in grands. I hope everything's good.
just saving energy, right? Like we got the
Yeah,
house
you
party
gotta.
tomorrow, and
There
then we
you're
have our
at.
we have
Yeah.
our 50th ever Casa Online next Friday. Like 50th, Brad. We've done 50 of these damn things.
And that's just the weeklies. That's not considering the other stuff that we've been doing, like the house party tomorrow, which you have not already pre-registered for. You absolutely should. 4 streams, 4 Swiss brackets, 4 fantastic co-streams, some great partnerships, as you've seen some of the stuff like Grinding Coffee Co. If I'm not mistaken, Red Bull is with this one on that, as well as Maturino, who came out and helped with us. And Surmi made the mistake of pledging money if we hit 32 players by 11 p.m. tonight, and we are only 4 or 5 people away. So if you want to ensure that Surmi has to pay out of pocket into the Maturino, the best thing that you can do in order to do that, besides using those coupon codes, is to go and pre-reg for the house party tomorrow, which you can find all of the info for on Twitter. I don't know if we have a Nightbot code to send people off to the house party.
Yeah, that one I don't know. And you say it's a mistake, Brad, but it's only a mistake if the community actually follows through, right? We're still 4 members away, and he has an hour left on his deadline. Do you really think there's 4 people in chat right now that haven't already signed up? I mean, there's 39 people. Like, somebody has to have signed up already, right?
I mean, one would hope, right? But I'm still going to answer it out into the void. And if one person hears me, it will have made the difference. And by one, I mean 4, because, one doesn't take Surmi's money, but 4 does. And that's what I'm in the interest of here. But as we load in our first of our top 8 matches, as I was saying, Tortilla Jones versus Tree Fitty PC, aka Shine. Been rocking the knife Cody today.
Yeah, definitely getting some inspiration from Bunch, who's been nonstop talking about it on Twitter. But so far, so good. I mean, it's been doing a lot of work here. Has the skill too as well. So I don't know. Shine typically gets top 8. I think they won last time they were here as well, if I'm remembering correctly. Because Bunch always makes a big deal about it for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, who could rightly know, right? Like Bunch being the person that he is, why would he be interested in Shine, player from New York, having a good performance? Speaking of a good performance, we got fantastic corner carry here from Shine, all the way into this P2 side corner. Tortilla Jones on the back foot. Ooh, lands on the tornado. I think if you had done a normal on that jump, you would have actually beaten the startup of the fireball, but instead just landing on it. There's the VT activation.
Yeah, we've actually seen really great Hurricane play coming out from Shine already. Really great at spacing them so far. Been able to get him some really nice connections off of it. Gets the knife activation as well, and just gets the nice link, and that is going to be round number 1. Starting up next here. Pretty even on resources so far, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, they both use their resources very differently, right? And they've been fairly conservative so far, but obviously one of the things from Cody, ooh, there's that back sway. I was about to say you have the EX Zonk to be able to get in on block, but if you're going to find the gap in the fireball offense, you're going to be able to not need to spend the bar anyway. Using a bar does Tortilla Jones on the reversal. Okay.
Pretty easy activation, though. I mean, he just gets so much damage into the super as well. That should be enough. And game 1 here, going to be going over to Shine. And I was going to say, he actually had that V-trigger super early. He only lost, I don't know, 15% of his HP, it seemed, and was still ready to go.
First game on the board here for Shine.
Round 1.
I feel like the knife didn't even come into play except for the confirm after that frame trap there to end out that round ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, he did something very similar in round number 1, where as soon as he activated, he just got the hit immediately. So Tortilla Jones just wasn't really prepared for the knife. It's quite quick. You know, it's not like the pipe that you're typically used to seeing the Cody's run. So I guess you can get caught off guard by it, especially since it really hasn't been played all that much.
Yeah, I think it's not the highlight reel generating content that is V-Trigger 2.
Yeah. Oh, the Sway is actually going to get beat out by the EX Tornado there. Gets the Eagle Spike as well, and the pressure's just never ending from Rashid. Oh, but the overhead wasn't enough. The air-to-air will bring it home now.
Yeah, that was a hungry jump out there from Shine, but ultimately not panning out the first round on the board here for Tortilla Jones, but you cannot count Shine out. Both players stocked with a fair bit of resources here. How are we going to see? Okay, now we see the EX Zonk, rather, just like that. You're in.
Yeah, keeping it going too. Nice little 2-piece. Gets the stun on top of it. Lots of scaling here, so he's still going to need one more for the game. Gets the throw. Definitely needs one more. Oh, nice throw escape. Just taps it out though.
Yeah, nice reserved play there to clinch out the round on the side of Shine. Not any kind of huge commitment. Even both of those throws were fairly low committal.
Yeah, you know, you have such a life lead at that point. You really can just do whatever you want. They could have just sat there tapping light kick for all they cared because they just had such an advantage. And Tortilla Jones keeps getting caught by that Sway. It's something, again, we don't see a whole lot of, but I mean, how many Codys do we really see at the Casa?
Well, I feel like Cody players very typically pick that in these Fireball matchups, particularly in a Fireball matchup where the utilization of the Fireball is in the way that Rashid plays it here, where you kind of end your strings at max range into it to afford yourself frame advantage to get back in. Like, you see it a lot against, like, Rashid or Akuma. Sometimes you'll see it against, like, a Urian. Ooh, that was a really late combo after the fact. No, not dead. Doesn't have a CA or anything to back it up, but tons of offense in the corner. V-Trigger gone. And now, once again, cautious, patient is Shine, walking all the way back. Gets caught in the shimmy.
Should still be alive, though, I believe. One more. Has the trigger again, just brings the knife right back out. Chuck it at him. Yeah. Follows it up with the EX Tornado and pulls a second knife. The anti-air got beat out, and Tortilla Jones is going to take game number 2.
Yeah, managing to clinch it out. I feel like some of it was having some good answers already for how Shine was representing the Sway. There were a couple of clutch moments where that ended up working out, and then obviously having the ability to cash out that CA there in that big moment, working out really nicely, brings us to the 1-1.
Yep, best of 5 now here in top 8, so first to 3 for those of you not numberically inclined. That's not a word, Doc. But
no, it's not an Excel doc either.
That's meaningless to me.
You can't see me. It was a really awful pun, and because we don't have cams today, you can't see me making a horrible face alongside my dad joke. Stuck in the corner right now is Shine, getting mauled a little bit by Tortilla Jones. Stun going down, but I think you can still make this happen. No, Shine finds the block string, critically working your way out of the corner. Stun gone.
Yeah, trying to get some poke damage in here now, and just trying to walk him down a little bit. Trigger lasting quite a long time here, because you're not really using a whole lot every time you stab it out like that. But it's just a lot of gray life. Gonna cash that out with the EX Zonk, though. Chases him down, gets the forward throw. Keeping pressure going, but the throw tech gives him a little bit of room to work with.
Doesn't get a follow-up into CA, but that next hit should do it. No, an unfortunate drop. And look at Shine mashing jab through that situation there.
Round 2. Just keep hitting overhead. It'll work eventually.
You're playing Rashid, right? You only have like 3 buttons. Crouch jab, overhead, forward fierce. Or whatever the hell the advancing chop move is.
As long as it works, Brad, you know. Just keep doing that thing. Not going to punish there. Shine playing a little bit more defensively so far. We're not seeing the as aggression that we saw earlier in the set, as they do get crush countered into the corner. Forward throw, keeping pressure going. Oh, crushed again!
X hit stun. We're not going to see the overhead, I don't imagine. No, instead we see the shimmy rather, and Shine bites. 2-1 on the side of Tortilla Jones here. Shine is going to have to make something of an adjustment. We're seeing, I think, one of the big changes from that first game is a whole lot of passivity. I feel like Shine is not really doing much aggressively. And I mean, one thing to point out is I feel like Shine keeps going for the shimmies, and Tortilla Jones has not bit in the shimmy like at all. And I feel like you need to understand that and kind of open up this throw game again and start going for throw first to really enforce that.
Yeah, I mean, specifically that last round too, we saw 2 huge crush counters into what, you know, Shine was trying to do, and it really kind of stymied the game plan there. And so now we're back into the next round. We are going to get an activation here from Tortilla Jones. Now going to be able to apply their pressure, and you can see Shine walking back, just charging up for the Zonk though.
Ooh, backs way through, but gets whiff punished. Tortilla Jones has done a great job of playing around the crime sways on Shine here. The stun, I don't think you die. No, the very last hit of the tornado is going to clinch it, and Tortilla Jones is on set point to move on to the winners finals here over Shine.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy at this point. Rolls into the Hurricane there. Does get the chase down though. Shine, like game 1 at this situation, you would definitely see Shine pressing the issue a little bit more, but right now they're kind of fishing. They're throwing out these tornadoes. They're going to get the back throw into the corner, but we may just see a V reversal again. Oh, that's huge.
Right, this is final position. There we are. That's exactly the adjustment that I wanted to see. Tortilla Jones has not been biting in the shimmy on the first attempt, but we've seen regularly the first throw works and then the second throw gets teched. So maybe Shine finally a little bit wiser to it here. Are we going to see this continue forward? Tortilla Jones is still on set point.
Yeah, it does still have a bit of ways to go though. That's a nice start, interrupting the EX Zonk, but gets a little antsy there. I mean, we're seeing these forward tornadoes here, and it's been punished a couple times here by Shine. So just a little bit of a spacing issue in that regard, but is going to get the jump in here. Huge damage cash out.
CA on deck for Tortilla Jones. Ooh, the air-to-air. Spends the 1 bar, blocking the tricky stuff.
Oh, it does it again. Does get the forward throw, though, and there's not a whole lot of meter now, especially after that. But, oh, huge punish. A big opportunity here. No cash out in either regard, and Shine just gets clipped. That was a bit of spaghetti right at the end there.
Yeah, I think the thing was, I think Shine hit that jab target combo, and then we saw a little bit of analysis paralysis, right? Like, you had the opportunity to challenge the whiffed DP, right? And I was like, all right, I could go for the VT activation, but maybe I should go it on block to enforce something after the fact, because I can get the knockdown here. So maybe we don't do that. But then looking down, and you had all those resources that you could have cashed out, it's just, I can't help but feel like that the intention was to try to lead into more offense, but it just ultimately didn't pan out. But you do get another chance. Shine only dropping down into the losers, plays the winner of Sevens and Carlton Banks, which, if we're going to run this the way we typically run things, will end up played off stream, as will Mylin versus Profit, as we switch over to the other half of our winner's side top 8 of Punk and Destructive.
This should be a really good one, actually. You know, Destructive has been having a really good last couple weeks here at the Casa. They won a couple weeks ago. They've been placing top 3 quite consistently. Things have been really looking up for that player. Now, they are going up against Punk, who is definitely a scary competitor slash TO now. So congratulations to him. But I mean, I actually haven't seen what Punk's playing here tonight. I know last week they randomed into Vega. I don't know if that is also the thing this week too.
Yeah, I saw earlier when I saw Punk on stream earlier, it was Ken, I believe. You know, obviously Punk is a good enough player to make whatever character they want work. So, you know, we could realistically see anything, but I feel like the tendency has been for Punk that you go into a tournament and whoever you play is who you let rock the whole time. So I'm going to operate under the assumption that we are going to see Ken.
That would make sense. And I'm looking back to last week's tournament, actually, where we did see this matchup in the losers semifinals. It was Punk versus Crouch Fierce. It was obviously the Vega versus the Urian last week. And There's 3-1 Punk over Destructive here. So I know that we did see the Zeku, I think it was for one game, maybe two in that series. But overall, it was still a very dominant series from Punk nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, Destructive we're seeing regularly in these top eights. I actually have to check. I don't believe Destructive has gotten a dub yet. We've seen a lot of top eights, but has Destructive actually won one yet?
They have. It was
Okay.
4 weeks ago, I believe.
All right.
It was one of the ones I missed, unfortunately, which is sad for me. But they earned it, and we'll see
Yeah.
if they can do it again, Brad. This we got good old smiling Ryu on the screen. It haunts my dreams.
Yeah, I mean, well, Fortnite Ryu. You got to be ready for it. It's where Ryu came from. Street Fighter is a spin-off series, after all. Punk is bringing us to the Ken. Crouch Fierce on the V-Trigger 1, V-Skill 2 Yuri, and no fantastic surprises here. Is that V-Trigger 2 from Ken?
That
Interesting.
is indeed. Visually, it's fun to watch, but we may get a tweet from Logan Sama later on tonight about this, just to be salt in the wound. But so far, pretty good series of events for Crouch Fierce. Really able to activate the V skill here, getting lots of pressure down, but finally an opening for Punk.
I think one of the things is, as the set is going to go on, you're going to have to look to see how Punk answers Destructive backing off and using this V skill. You don't usually get to spend a whole set activating that V skill naked like that on your own. Ooh, speaking of naked, going for the naked jump in, uncovered, gets the DP through it, and the crouching jab to close out in the little scramble situation in the corner as the first round goes the way of Punk.
Yeah, it was a nice little comeback there. I mean, like we said, Destructive was able to get quite an early lead. We'll see if they can do it again here as they do get a sequence going. Brings them all the way to the corner. Goes for another chop, though. Punk seems to be getting ready for those.
Yeah, I think one thing is Ken obviously is at his best when he's able to be the aggressor and has you cornered. So I think one of the things is, as we get close to this corner here, it's going to be beholden upon Destructive to do exactly that. As you get back to the corner, you need to fight tooth and nail to keep yourself from getting pushed the rest of the way back in. The jump back jab, closing out the deal. One round apiece. Big jump in over a fireball. Ooh, maximum corner carry with the second bar as well.
Does get kicked back out, thrown into the corner as well, getting a couple of them here. Finally going to break out, but the slow walk forward from Ken can be quite scary, honestly. Like, there's so much you have to worry about to a certain degree. And for right now, Destructive's doing a great job fighting their way out of the corner. Is going for a bit of these whiff punishes, but it's just not quite connecting just yet. There it is. And so we are going to get back into the corner here as Destructive is being forced away. Finally going to find their opportunity. Gets thrown back again. It's just back and forth. It's like Pong, Brad.
Ooh. Oh, cashing all the way out. Gotta get into the
Oh,
CA,
no!
but it whips.
Oh, that's still not enough. Oh, the air to air.
This
That was
V-trigger-
almost sick. Almost.
That would have been so sick. Instead, it almost blew up in his face. Well, Punk takes the first game either way.
I watched that again just on stream because it was like so close to being awesome. But like you said, the victory still ends up in Punk's hands as once again, Brad, we're back in the corner. But who is truly corner trapped?
Always the compelling question. Late attempt at an anti-air. Ooh, shimmies with Crouch Fierce's. Next hit is stun. Gets the throw. Does Destructive to close out, I think. You've got the one bar and the V-Trigger store. Or the V-Skill store, rather. No, still needs one more.
Might have been able to do it with a cash out, but I do like the idea there. Quite a life lead. Just save the bar for the next round. And you know Punk is going to jump out. That has been Punk's MO this entire game so far, in that they are trying to jump out or in, and the air-to-air just really links together nicely.
Okay, cross up, but it doesn't. It ends up an interesting trade. Okay, sweep into V-Skill. And now we see the V-Trigger activation. Are we going to get the combo this time? No, doesn't elect to cash all the way out.
Oh, guess the EX headbutt reversal, though. Here comes just reversals on reversals. Keeping those fiery fists of fury primed and ready. Gets it again. Activate. No CA this time, though. Needs to get a little bit more, and we have mirror time. Never mind.
Uh-oh.
You're dead. You're just dead.
Yeah, a little bit of overcommitment there on the side of Punk, ripping out that reversal when he did not necessarily need to. I guess the expectation there was you bring it out because you're anticipating that Destructive is going to kind of autopilot into a V-trigger activation route. And so you figure they're going to tunnel vision on V-trigger activation, so you do the DP, but Destructive was thinking a little bit less linearly, it seemed, in the moment. Speaking of not linearly, even if you operate in 2 dimensions, still a straight line. Anti-air is the jump in. Fantastic corner carry here on the side of Destructive.
He's going to get crushed up a bit, but Destructive's been looking amazing these last couple of rounds. You know, like you said, he's thinking about what move he wants to do. He very easily could have gone for the crouching medium kick in that last sequence and gotten DP'd out, but, you know, played it a little bit safe, got the bait, and now, even with the V-shift, still on the offensive.
Pretty good life lead here. Tatsu's out. Punk gets to drive now. There's that V-trigger activation. But this is still... Oh, okay. I don't know if that was supposed to be a setup or a weird, very interesting read. Into the CA activation. That should close out this round here for Punk.
Yeah. Drains out the resources, but definitely worthwhile to get the round in this situation. You know, too many times now they've kind of played that edge, and Destructive's, you know, been able to take it to him. So Punk gonna be able to get the lead here coming into the next round. Round starts have all been Destructive for some reason, for the last couple at least.
Yeah, I wonder if that's to do with just the way that these two character kits interact, or if Punk is trying to do something a little bit wild. I feel like Ken is kind of at his best as like a kind of a counter poker outside of the corner, as where you can kind of rely on the strength of your own hit confirms. What Punk obviously has, but you know, Ken is not the long form main, so we're gonna have to see.
Bit of an odd sequence there. Doesn't get the full extent out of that
Ooh,
second
you're
mirror, but into the CA it should connect, and there it is. Twice in a row we're gonna see that ending. And one thing that I think is actually pretty interesting, Brad, so far is that, you know, we here at the Casa, we have a very known Ken player. Some of you in the chat may remember him from the olden days, Diego V. Used to use a lot of fireballs. We've seen almost none from Punk, right? Like, they're relying a lot on the hit confirms that you're talking about, the oppressive aggression that Ken can really bring to the table, and they're not trying to get into the fireball war with the Urian so far.
Yeah, I mean, well, how often do you see Punk playing a fireball character in the first place? I mean, outside of Ken, I feel like we saw a lot of Chun, but even with the Chun, it was still very much focused on the ground game. I think that's where Punk traditionally excels. Great buttons, fantastic hit confirmability, and a good sense of utilizing your speed on the ground.
So after everything you said, what I'm hearing is that Diego's just built different.
Yeah, I mean, that's another way that you can phrase that. But we ain't talking about Diego, we're talking about Punk, who is
True.
Unfortunately on the back foot here, but the V-trigger is activated.
Yeah, slowly taken away, but he's being forced back further into the corner. We are going to have CA in just a second. Never mind the mirror activation. Okay, it works out. We take those. We'll call that an American reset, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's some spaghetti on the floor, but it's all right. We can clean it up.
Just rinse it off. It's fine.
All right, finding the late DP, but catching the knee drop. I think that's one of the big things to be able to represent when you're playing against a Urian who is going to be using the knee drops. Cashing out the bar for a little bit of extra damage in the corner, but I think critically as well, the stun. I think this is a one-touch situation on the stun. It absolutely is. Building a little bit of extra meter. Oh, okay, went for a reset?
It was a... They won the round.
There's an implied, there was a question mark in parentheses on reset.
Yeah, that was a lot to process in a short second, but they get the 7 golden letters, and so we are going to be on set point now for Punk, looking to take it 3-1 over Destructive once again. That's a big crush counter, taking him to the corner. CA is available as well, so Destructive's in a bit of a tight spot right now.
Yeah, I think it's still doable if you get another few hits. You end up having the mirror to represent, which we've not really seen Aegis come into effect. I feel like the rounds that Destructive is winning, mirrors, we're not seeing crazy mirror mix-ups like we traditionally seen. Goes over, there's the activation from Punk, but it's still gonna get punished.
Oh, it doesn't link. It's the DP again. There's no meter this time, though, so we are going to have to get a little bit more of a linear combo. Still needs one. CA is blocked. It's grabbed out, and we're heading to a game number 5.
Punk bet that all on red every single wake up. Even the one wake up that wasn't a DP was a wake up crouch jab and then DP.
I mean, who expects the triple DP threat?
It's the cyclical nature of Kens, right? Like at the lowest layer, Kens are always turning DP, and at the highest layer, it seems like sometimes Kens will always turn DP. It's an instinct that is always there.
Listen, if they weren't going to DP, or if they weren't expected to DP, they wouldn't have been given a DP. I think.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. The math checks out. Ooh, a late anti-air once
huge
again.
crush.
I feel like these knee drops have been such a boon for Destructive and such a bane for Punk. We've not really seen it. Okay, the first successful V-shift of the set. We've seen Destructive representing it, but it's not really come up a whole lot.
Yeah, and it kind of is odd because for the same reason we don't see a lot of Urian's V-reversal, as that is enough to kill, especially with this 3-bar Aegis, is when it's wrong, you just lose so much because it denies you that Aegis for such a long period of time. And in the rounds that they won in the last game to take it to game 5, they were just getting the Aegis with like 20-ish% HP left.
Punk on set point, but back against the wall here. Finds the back strong hit confirm into the target combo. We have gone coast to coast. Next hit is stun.
That's such a bold challenge on Wake Up, though. Crouch Fierce here looking to just stay alive, but once again, just within an inch of stun. Oh, nice little combo there. Brings him back to the corner, gets the duck under. Forward throw. There's still trigger for Punk, by the way.
Yeah, so you need to be watching. Any low forward into trigger is potentially death. You need to be watching for activation off of like another DP, but look at all this gray life. There's the low forward activate. Are we gonna see a proper follow-up? Yes, we are, into the EX Tatsu to close it out 3-2. Punk takes it in a close set to move on to play Tortilla Jones in the winners finals.
There's so much suction on that V trigger. Like, it just looks so crazy when they just vacuum together and fly into the sky. It's poetic because then they just end their life with the Tatsu there. But yeah, congrats to Punk for moving forward. We will see more of Crouch Fierce in just a couple minutes because they are going to be heading down to the basement there. But you know what's going on in the basement, Brad?
Well, I'm looking down, and my expectation was that I'm very used to us running the first round of Loser Side Top 8 off stream, but it looks like we didn't do that today.
We're ahead of schedule. We got time.
Yeah, there we go. That's 2 extra matches for all of you and 2 extra matches for everybody to go and show some love to the Matcherino. It is coupon code Casa SFV49 to throw the free 50 cents in. And once again, if you aren't already, make sure you follow Casa on Twitter, and you should look at all of the information for the house party tomorrow. We got 4 streams, 4 Swiss pools, tons of opportunities for you as a player to get high-level tournament matches, maybe even some stream time if that's something that you're gunning for. Some great partnerships that we have.
You know what, Brad?
What do I know? Yeah,
it's 10:20 p.m. Obviously, we're way ahead of schedule here for the night. But we're still on a countdown, right? We're still on a ticking clock. There are 40 minutes left for people to enter the house party Swiss bracket that you're talking about here, because we kind of want to cost Sermi some money. We all love Sermi, but they're out here bragging on Twitter that they got $100 just burning a hole in the pocket. And you know what? I think we should really give him something to do with it. I think we need to get those last 4 signups into that bracket so that we can get the $100 donation to the pot. Because you know what? Also, there are donation milestones attached to the house party, Brad. And I don't know if you've seen the end goal here, but it's $1,100.
Right.
I'm gonna throw that right out there. So $1,100. We're currently at I think 870 something. At $1,100, Bunch is going to have to do the ice bucket challenge on stream.
I mean, I want to see it. Don't get it twisted. Isn't that like an old thing?
Yeah, it was for a great cause. It was for, I believe, ALS. It was a donation. What's the word? Not so much a
It was like a
drive, but like
donation drive.
well,
It was an
yeah.
awareness campaign.
Yes, exactly. And, I did one. Nobody will ever see it because it's on Facebook, but a lot of people have done one. And, Bunch, they're not a huge fan of the cold, right? So I think getting them to be dousing themselves in ice water, it's for a good cause. Moral of the story is sign up for House Party, folks. There's only a couple spots needed for Sermi to spend money as we head into this loser bracket side, applying pressure, otherwise known as sevens, up against Carlton Banks. Another player that's actually been going quite deep, quite consistently here at Casa.
Yeah, it's another one that how many stories do we have of people that regularly make it deep in these brackets but haven't quite gotten the dub yet? And someone will correct me or fire me if I'm wrong. Sevens here with the V-Trigger 2 on deck.
You dropped your own thought.
Sorry, I went over to get the Smash GG link for Usable Fiber, who was asking about the house party sign up. Sevens is cleaning out the round as I transition back to coherent thought. Carlton Banks fully stocked, fantastic hicking from there off the stand jab.
Yeah, and Bird is a character that I feel it's kind of in a weird spot, right? Like we've seen Birdie mains on Twitter crying about the crush counter nerf that they've received, even though in a way it's a buff. It's a weird situation to find yourself in, right? Like Birdie mains, they don't know what they want. They want that.
I think they want, yeah, they definitely want the CA activation. I think you're still alive. Yeah, you are definitely still alive. You are the dictator. It takes a whole lot to put you in the ground. You lived through a raging demon. Ooh, walk back, standing short from Carlton Banks through the shimmy. Both of these characters with pretty short, slow walk speeds, but Dictator doesn't have the best. I mean, his shimmies are the strength of his shimmies is more in how fantastic his buttons are at giving him the frame advantage he needs in order to afford the opportunity to do it.
Imagine surviving a raging demon and dying to getting kicked in the shin. It's a tough life, but
okay, we're fishing here. There's a lot of wish punishment happening right here. People are casting some quarters into the well with some standing fierces. Okay, sevens in the driver's seat now, but gets crush countered.
Yeah, follows it up with the command grab as well. Big old bonk on the head. Gets him with the EX follow-up and just needs a little bit more to clutch it out, but gets crushed. That was a super late crush.
Okay. We set in the time bomb. Oh, wow. Getting away with these back throws, but the time bomb goes away during the throw animation, cashing out on the Psycho Crusher, and it's all gone. Spending the EX bar on the head stomp. But now you're back at the corner. There's the activation from Carlton Banks. Blocks the overhead. Goes for the counter poke. Doesn't quite work. And the counter poke through the EX scissor kicks in an attempt to earn some space. Carlton Banks takes the first game.
Yeah, those kicks are quite slow. Birdie very easily going to be able to punish that on, maybe not reaction, but definitely going to get the punish there. So, yeah. Game one going over. We're heading back to the lobby, it would seem. Character selection screen. I don't know. Do we see a trigger difference here for sevens? Or are we just going to see an altogether different character, I wonder?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the V-Trigger 2 really didn't pan out at all there. That first game, it was activated and just kind of ultimately didn't go anywhere. And then in the round where Sevens was able to use it in the driver's seat a little bit, like, obviously it opened up the throw game even more. which I say, but as I say it, the whole kind of appeal of Dictator is your buttons are what you want. The frame data opens up your throw game, so people start teching, so you get the buttons. So it could also just be that it doesn't matter what you have. Carlton Banks is content to take the throw. And the point being is he set the time bomb up and then diffused it on his damn self with the back throw. So we really saw every utilization of it not pan out. So much so that Sevens switching over to the Ken away from the Dictator altogether.
Yeah, we don't get enough Ken representation here in Street Fighter V, so I do like this swap over. Is it going to be enough, though, right? We did just see a Ken, perform quite nicely, and this is a matchup that Carlton has played before, so the fireballs, I think, will be the issue here, considering the range advantage is punished, actually, as I'm trying to say something.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing is when you represent the fireballs, it forces Carlton Banks to try to armor through them and utilize the anti-fireball tools that Birdie has, which maybe affords you the opportunity to open up the ground game. Speaking of opened up with the shimmy, as we see the hit confirms there on the side of Seven. Spends the EX fireball just to lock stuff down on Wake Up. Carlton Banks about to get stunned. Stun may not ultimately matter with how little life they have. Ooh, the hit confirm.
Yeah, brings him all the way to the corner here. Gets the meaty button on Wake Up too. Just needs a little bit more for stun. Goes for the shimmy. Doesn't quite get it and tries to follow up with the command grab. Just a little bit too greedy at the end there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on the playback on Twitch. It might be that the EX command grab would have done enough damage to kill in that situation. I know...
I definitely think it would have.
Yeah, so that was the shortest path to victory. That's exactly what I was talking about, where by representing the fireball, you enforce needing to keep that tool ready from Carlton Banks. Has the option select anti-air ready. Ooh, the jump out of the chain grab attempt there from Carlton Banks. Now Seven's in the driver's seat.
Okay, just one more for stun again. Goes for the cross up, but ends up with the back throw. Tons of meter on deck. Not enough, though.
Okay, backing way off. I think that, like, tackle into activate is one of the de facto routes, so you kind of want to play just outside of the range of that. Okay, actually, you know what? That was pretty smart. Backing all the way off, communicating via the neutral that you're going to play this slower game, and then just cheating in with your quick forward dash into the low short to get the little bit of damage that you needed. Seven's getting the game on the board.
Yeah, I mean, matchup one with Dictator, you were talking about how they were both kind of slow, meaty, beefy characters that are looking for these big hits. But with Ken, you're a lot more agile, so you can dip in and out a bit quicker, and you can still get these nice whiff punishes. But, I mean, that time you just took full advantage of the speedier character.
Ooh, okay. That was a regular DP on Wake Up, too. Yeah, Sevens had the read, and it came up again. Sevens.
Kind of like that they've done it twice now, because it seems like that is actually an intentional move, as they do get crush countered in the corner. Oh, interesting series of events. Oh no.
Okay, we're seeing it represented a whole lot, and now I feel that the dial has swung too far into the opposite direction. Okay,
too much Ken.
Yeah. V-trigger activation. Ooh, okay, going for the feint on the overhead into the back throw. Ooh, but I have an overhead of my own. I can't feint it, so you have to block it, says Carlton Banks. Block it. Sevens does not.
All right, so Carlton back into the lead. Does have a little bit of a meter advantage heading into this next round as well, but applying pressure, trying to do so with a little bit of fireball action. Oh, gets a nice little whiff punish there as well. Does quite a bit of damage and chase down.
I think that's another thing, is it felt like the ground game between these two when Sevens was playing the Dictator matchup. Felt like there was a lot of flailing and a lot of attempts at with punishment, but neither one of them was quite in the right pocket. Sevens feels as though they are much more comfortable utilizing Ken's toolkit to play at the ranges that they want to play opposite Birdie. It just seems a whole lot more comfortable in general as he cleanly takes this next game. Somebody is going to go up 2-1 for the first time in this set. Who is it going to be? Dash forward throw straight up the gate. A little bit of overcommitment from Carlton Banks.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the ground game so far from Sevens has been lights out. I mean, the change in character has been such a difference. And Carlton, while still looking okay, like in the round they won, they were quite dominant, but there's just times where they just get beaten up and they look like they can't do anything, appropriately. But we are going to get a nice sequence here with the trigger activation. Carlton dead even on life and way behind on resources. He's dead.
Maybe dead. Yup. Off of a hard command grab read. Sevens was ready for it with the backdash punish, closing it out, and 2-1. The Ken switch working out wonders so far.
Yeah, 2-0 on the pick so far. Carlton probably going to stick with Birdie here. I don't remember them playing any other characters off the rip, and so that is going to be the rematch here. 2-1 currently, 2 sevens. Going to be looking to win this one and knock Carlton Banks out of the tournament. This is loser's side, by the way. Winner here gets the pleasure of playing Shine.
Ooh, the heavy Tatsu over the can. And now some corner pressure here on the side of Sevens working their way out. We see the V-shift represented just to get a little bit more breathing room, and it is all the breathing room that was required. No feint on this overhead, cashing all the way out.
Gets the whiff punish as well on the throw, and that is a very quick series point gained here from Sevens. And I love the V-shift, right? Because there's no downside. Ken doesn't necessarily need the trigger activation. They can do quite well without it. And just everything works in that scenario. Like if you dodge an attack, great. If you dodge the throw, you saw exactly what's already going to happen.
Yeah. Carlton Banks in the driver's seat here, about a half-life lead. Pretty strong position on the screen. There's the EX command grab to close it out. I don't know if the only criticism to levy is maybe you didn't need to spend the bar because the regular command grab would have killed, but you still earned a resource back, and you needed to ensure that you close this all out because it is set point here for Sevens, as you had alluded to.
Yeah, can't fault him for spending a little bit extra cash. I mean, when you got it, you got to flaunt it just a little bit to make sure everybody's paying attention. So he's gonna give the back throw here. Carlton, I feel like their corner pressure hasn't been that insane. They do get some nice links like this that we've seen a couple times now, but maybe that's where they spent a little bit too much, Brad.
Yeah, I think in terms of the corner offense, I think what we're seeing is exactly that, right? Sevens has been so willing to spend resources on representing defensive DP, and it has done a fantastic job of dissuading Carlton Banks from really trusting their offense. Finding the stand short with punish into the confirm there is Carlton Banks to tie this up 2-2. And I think it's that Sevens has this great finger on the pulse of when Carlton Banks is going to stop thinking about defensive DP and then representing it. Because if Carlton Banks keeps giving this extra room to try to bait the DPs from Sevens, that's what affords these extra gaps that actually let Sevens work their way out of this corner lockdown in the first place.
Yeah. And so now that we have taken it to a game 5, we're gonna have to see adjustments from both characters, right? We've seen Carlton, try and play a little aggressive, but now they're back to the wall. They need to win sound. They need to win out here, and so they're doing this a lot where they're checking with the kick there just to make sure that they can get a little bit of something going. But we're seeing already the adaptation from Sevens.
Right, back throw, but you have to watch for the DP, and once again, Sevens seems entirely disinterested in stopping representing this at any point. The armor on Wake Up.
Oh no!
Carlton Banks, but the whiff chain.
I don't know if that was entirely what they were looking to do there. They are going to go all in with the dive, though. Doesn't quite get it, but does get the sequence. Only needs one more. Oh, no. The back throw. It's tragic.
My God. The regular DPs from Sevens.
They clipped him at the apex.
Resources are a social construct, man. EX bar is a social construct.
Oh, but that is
the next level catch.
Listen, he spent it wrongly that time. Does get the nice crossover, though. Takes him to the corner, spends a little bit more. Is just applying all of this fiery pressure. And there's that wave punish we saw so much of earlier. That connects! Oh! That's huge!
This is a fantastic, more than an equalizer. You're going to be, depending on the confirm, one-touch game. Blocks, baits the DP, I'm sorry. And we are going to a true final game.
Final round.
Yes. You understood what I meant. I'm so tilted. Seven's DP utilization is tilting me. The fact that Carlton Banks is still maintaining even a modicum of composure is amazing to me.
Listen, everybody's played a Wi-Fi Ken before. You know what to expect from these DPs. You're just gonna force the issue. That was a nice little sequence where Carlton was like truly seeming to be in the driver's seat for the first time, and it really forced the pressure out of Sevens, and it cost them a lot. We saw the two DPs get crush countered, and it won the round. But this is going completely the other direction. Is gonna get the punish there on the Tatsu. Oh, almost punished the shift as well.
Oh, no buffer off of the standing jabs there. Oh, the second one now. But we are back to this neutral. 45 seconds left on the clock. A slight life lead on the side of Sevens. Oh no, overcommitment. You still have VT activation on deck here for Carlton Banks. Sevens has instead elected to spend their V gauge defensively so far.
That's huge.
There's that activation.
Does get the chain this time as well. Knockdown, dash forward, V shift, not going to go punished. The EX Tatsu not going to connect either, but look at this just chipping away. 20 seconds left on the clock, and it's literally Pixels, Pixels making the difference here.
If I'm Carlton Banks, I'm perfectly content to just sit back here. 10 seconds left on the clock. Don't do anything. Don't take any risk. Perfect. Back off. You know Sevens needs to make something happen. You're either going to catch some wild stuff that you're going to punish, or you're going to stick out a button as they try to cheat forward into the space and close it out. It's exactly what happened with the crouching jab. And after a super tight set, Carlton Banks manages to catch the lightning in the bottle that is Sevens' Ken. But what a performance from Sevens. After giving up that first game with the Dictator pick, which did not work out, what a Ken. What a different Ken to Punk's Ken that we saw represented in the winner's side as well.
Yeah, and that end there was actually really close. Carlton was able to interrupt EX something from the Ken. There was 14 seconds left on the clock. Sevens had one EX bar remaining, and you see the orange flash, and then did you get back-fisted right in the grill, and it just removed any pressure that Sevens was going to be able to create at that point, and you just needed the one little jab after that. So congrats to Carlton Banks. Their reward is they get to play Shine, but that will be in just a couple of minutes because we have our other losers top 8 match here. It is going to be Myelin versus Profit. This one I think should be pretty interesting. You and I were talking about a little bit earlier about Profit's trigger decisions, because I'd honestly never seen him play. Well, not never, but I hadn't seen him play trigger one Gil in a couple months, actually. They'd been all about the freeze traps.
Yeah, I feel like it seemed as though people kind of fell out of favor with the freeze traps a little bit, partly based on the implications of V-shift, right? It makes it feel a lot less oppressive in certain situations, just being
It's all
able to
about the
represent
implication.
That is. Meanwhile, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when Myelin was playing earlier in the bracket, we saw Laura, correct? You see Poison in the lobby photo, but
no, yeah, you were right.
It's gonna be the Laura. I can't help but feel like I immediately and instinctively feel bad for Profit in this situation.
I don't feel bad. Nope. No feelings of remorse. No, you gotta hold that.
Oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure where you were going with this, but apparently we're choosing violence today.
No, I mean, listen, if we're gonna complain about character matchups, you're playing Gil. That's a choice. Like, that is an objective choice that you made to play that character. So I don't feel bad for low tier players.
That neutral jump representation from Myelin straight out the gate, already ready to challenge some of these more conventional ice ball traps that you sometimes see from Gil. Profit sitting on a life lead here for a moment, already representing the anti-air fireball. You can play a lot more comfortably as long as Laura doesn't have any X-bar. Now that she does, you need to be worried.
Gets the activation as well. Forward throw, keeping the pressure going, but the back throw is from so far away. Profit now in a bit of power. But yeah, trigger activation, just raw coming in from Profit. Is going to kind of hang on for a little bit. corner pressure now coming in from Mylin. Ends up using the last of the trigger here. But now Prophet actually lesser in the HP with only 15 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, but I think you're in the position here to drive. This chip damage is not insignificant. Mylin didn't have any resources to go through anything, and Prophet, not dissimilar to what we saw represented in an earlier matchup, slow it down and then explosively dash out for the low short to close stuff out, takes the first round.
Yeah, nice start here from Mylin though. Gets a big chunky bit of damage. But I like that Prophet's, kind of really not relying, but like utilizing these fireballs. It's kind of different from a lot of how they used to play the character, but it's clearly working in this specific matchup as we get the activation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. You have to vary how you use it in any particular matchup, but needing to bring that out here. Ooh. If you don't, Laura's going to try to steamroll you, and if you do, you're going to force her to try to use her EX bar to navigate around it, which means you're dealing with less EX clap.
Yeah, uses the last bit of trigger there to get a little bit of a snipe out. Look at all that gray health just chunked away, and they are going to be taking game one.
Oh man, Prophet is ready. The low forward under the greedy charged fireball, closing it out. That's the kind of thing that you really need to represent in this. If your character has a low profile option under Laura's fireball, you need to be ready to bust it out at a moment's notice.
Round one.
Yeah, lots of Laura practice out there these days. People are a little bit prepared for the character, which is nice because, you have to be, right? The game's out, been out for a while. You should have a little bit of knowledge. I like that V-shift, actually. It didn't lead to a whole lot, but it removed all of that pressure that Mylin had been building up.
One thing, I love that Prophet seems willing to spend the bars to get the retribution stacks on and have the ability to cash out bigger damage when you get the errant hit, which I think makes this kind of transactional matchup a little bit easier for a guild player to deal with.
Yeah, and it's getting quite a bit of damage, and it does leave them quite low on meter often, but it just, like you said, it's transactional. Like, you got to spend money to make money, and you need to be able to be willing to risk it.
Finds the command grab to close it out. Does Mylin a round on the board for themselves now? That first game was both rounds to Prophet, right?
Yeah.
Right after I had said that my gut instinct told me to feel bad? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. We're going to have to see. Maybe the matchup changes. Utilizing that low profile under the fireball. Once again, there is Prophet clearly ready to represent this tool.
Yeah. There it is again. Gets the charge afterwards as well. Even a forward throw. Just lots of pressure coming out from Prophet. Does have that full bar of meter as well, just to back it up. We've seen a couple wings out at the end of the day, but does actually try to charge through the fireball, but I think they were expecting to get a little bit more on that knockdown.
Yeah, I think what I'm finding is you very typically, like you said, you see the CA used from Guild pretty often, but Prophet is very clearly willing to use the EX bar in other ways in this matchup to ensure the opportunity to put out either armor or getting the retribution stacks to keep the matchup going in their favor. Jabs through after the EX clap, the bravery of Prophet.
Yeah, and that's a very tough spot to be as Guild because you don't have any reversals. You either have to shift or V reversal. You don't have a DP. You don't have an EX headbutt or anything like that. You have to either hold it, which is scary against Laura, or you challenge and hope you don't get blown up.
Right, both players on game point here right now. Prophet sitting up 1 game to Mylin's 0. We're gonna have to see. Oh, no hit confirm off the crouch fierce. That's a really hit confirmable normal. Right, full charge on the fireball. Prophet gets clipped by the overhead at the tip, but nothing really comes of it. Trade on the fireball, but now you have to work your way out. There's a feature activation there from Prophet.
Ooh.
The jab.
Yeah, bit of a tough interruption there because it does eat up so much of that trigger bar. Does have roughly 1 left, maybe 2. All right, so it does turn out to be 2, but it's actually going to time out before they get the chance to utilize it. And they're very quickly building up this gray health. So one hit will just about do it here for Mylan, and they're fishing for it. They're trying to get it.
Okay, dash forward. I mean, the amount of I don't know that Gil has the damage output outside of VT to close this out without giving Mylan the opportunity to activate VT at some point. 20 seconds left on the clock, and Prophet still needs to make something happen.
Yeah, because even the CA is not super high damage. Would need
that
2
could've been-
touches.
That could have been huge, but now we're at the point. There's the activation off of the fireball, and Mylan is going to take it. Ooh. That was really close for Prophet. Found that crouching strong, but didn't follow up after the fact. It cost them the game, and it is 1-1 between Prophet and Mylan now.
You know, I kind of want to see them. I kind of want to see Prophet bring back the ice traps. And now, I do know the V shift is entirely problematic for that play style. But you're forcing something out of Mylan at that point, right? Like, that is more transactional than what we've been seeing so far. We haven't really seen Mylan have to give up these trigger stacks, right? Like, they're pretty free to just activate and do what they want. And I feel like on Prophet's side, once they get that activation, it's not scary. We've seen a couple errant hits, but they don't, for the most part, lead to anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a super volatile loadout, ultimately, whereas Laura's is entirely volatile. That's the whole point. She's an incredibly volatile character. And it's just, Gil doesn't bring a whole lot to the table that is going to make a Laura player feel as though they need to use their V-Trigger in any other way. There is the activation, once again, unchallenged. In terms of the utilization of the V-Gauge, I should say, has to burn the V-Reversal, does Prophet, which likely means that we're not going to see, well, we're certainly not going to see a V-Trigger now from Prophet, but you may not need it. Has 2 bars, spends the EX.
Oh, gets the
it
chase.
would have been another Retribution stack.
Still needs to get a little bit more done. Stays alive after the sunset wheel, but it's just a little bit. All right, wake up back throw from Prophet.
So it looks like Malin did a throw, a meaty throw on Prophet. That was a little bit too early and found the back throw in response, did Prophet.
A little too rare on the meaty there, but nice little series of events here. Breaking out from Mylan does get a little bit there. Gets the sunset wheel dash up 2. What's the next mix?
Counter pokes into nothing has been a big story here for Prophet, unfortunately. Just doesn't lead to a whole lot. Really cashing out, but I mean,
That's the first time we've seen that. That's acceptable.
yeah, I mean, Mylan hasn't been representing it. You got them to burn the bar. You weathered the offense on the wake-up situation, so it ultimately kind of works out. And now we see Prophet once again needing to make something of a comeback, but with all of the resources necessary to do it. Respects the +2.
+2 the game, but I mean, you also have to be given the opportunity to cash out if you're Prophet, right? Mylan's playing a very defensive set so far right now, and it only takes 1 realistically. That should be enough to kill. More than enough.
Returned to Harmony. Prophet up 2-1. Prophet's looking really on tonight.
They're winning. All right, so here's the thing I'm gonna say. I haven't really seen Prophet play since the patch, right? So
It's really clear to me that you're just a Prophet hater tonight.
What? I missed the ice. Let's put it that way. No, it's just a different style, and maybe it's just the matchup here with Laura. I think it's the trigger. I'm not impressed with Fire Trigger, is what it is. I miss the fun shenanigans we got out of Ice Trap. I'm just sad, Brad.
I mean, I get that, in that the Fire Trigger isn't particularly exciting, but it solidifies that Gil is not this big VT character, and I don't think he ever was. I feel like the gimmicks that you saw out of Ice were a bandage. They weren't a solution. utilizing the V system in these different ways is the new way forward, and it's how characters like Gil can stabilize these more tumultuous matchups.
Yep, and it's working, right? Like Prophet's currently in the lead, 2-1, is down around, but can make that up very quickly. Runs out of meter there, and so now we're getting the run back here from Mylan. Just about has Trigger available as well, but there's the V break. Does give Trigger over to Mylan, but just don't give him the opportunity to activate, and we'll be all set.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. Look at the fact that Prophet is able to utilize the V gauge in these different ways. Didn't have to deal with anything to do with these fireball traps. You just use the V shift to get your way out. Most of this V trigger gone, and Mylan has really gotten very little out of it. A V reversal that time in an interest to vary the defensive choices. Crouch trap doesn't work. EX fireball on the trade. No bar on the side of Mylan just yet. Oh!
That was sick. Oh man, Prophet doing him dirty. Gets the air to air off of, what even was that? That was sick.
That was like a weird juggle point property thing. That was cute. I see you, Prophet. As we move to set point here for Prophet, Mylan needs to win this round in order to stay in it. Prophet chipping away. And I like that. Prophet seems to have this innate sense of whether they are in the position and have the timing to try to low profile these fireballs. And when they don't, they just backdash or just block. We're not seeing sloppy challenges.
No, and Prophet's very clearly confident in their defense, right? Like, you have to be in this matchup because Laura will grab you, will throw you into the sun, and make you guess a billion times. And Prophet is saying, hey, I believe in myself. I will block it out. You cannot trick me, Devil Woman, as they're just giving him the business here in the corner.
Oh, there's that famous one-frame stand jab reversal from Laura. It's not really one frame, but it sure feels it. Finding the forward throw to close out the sequence, and we are all tied up at 2-2.
I think we've gone to Game 5 every single set except for Tortilla Jones versus Shine, actually.
Yep.
That's crazy. We're 3 for 4 so far in Game 5s. That's sick.
Round 1.
But now, Brad, who's gonna take it home? Because this has been actually really, really close.
I think.
Just say it. First thing in mind.
First thing that goes on, I think Prophet still takes this. Sorry, my chuckle to wake up jab being fully invincible and pure counter hit. Yeah, I think Prophet can still take this. I think the fact that Prophet's defense has been so good and we've not seen this match swinging super wildly in Mylan's favor tells me that it's still super possible. I feel like that's my gut pick.
Ooh, that's an unfortunate trade, but the nice V reversal out of the EX to get a little bit of pressure going. The wake up jab once again, Brad, you'll love to see it. But now it's kind of guessing for the game. Forward throw only needs a little bit more, and it's the overhead chase down for Mylan.
Yeah, we hadn't really seen that represented in that situation. Cashing out in a big way in order to make it happen, but with the corner position, it's possible that the fireball may have kept you safe rather anyway. And now Mylan on set point. Oh no, commits to the lunge. Okay.
We're finally seeing these overheads represented, and it's been so different from the rest of the set as the stun comes in. No meter though, so does still get one more guess for the game. Will Prophet. They do black up a little bit, but here comes the sunset wheel to do them in, and that is 3-2 for Mylan.
See, I said that I believed Prophet could do it, but the reality is Laura is always sure, but Laura is always only 2 correct reads away from winning a whole round, no matter what else has gone on. That last round in particular, that last round looks out of place with the rest of this set. We didn't see a single round that looked like that typical of a Laura round through the span of this matchup so far. But pulling it out at the end, if there's a moment to do it, it's to close out the set, which means Mylan does get to move on and play destructive in the losers bracket.
We get our next matchup, Brad. it is going to end up being Shine versus Carlton Banks. So that should actually be a really fun one. It's going to be the Cody versus Birdie matchup. Interesting enough. And as actually, we have 5 minutes left for Sermi's bet. So if I can get a bracket check coming in from either Bunch or one of the
I
Wonder
have
Twins
it.
there.
I have it open. We are at 31 players right now, and a reminder to everybody, we were challenged by Sermi of Macherino that if we had 32 players by 11 p.m. tonight, $100 of Sermi's own money was going into the pot. We need one more person registered for the house party tomorrow. And frankly, if you're even on the fence, you shouldn't be, because tomorrow is 4 Swiss brackets, or 4 Swiss pools, I should say, going into a top 8 bracket. 4 streams, plenty of opportunities for high-level play, and even some stream time, if that's the kind of thing that you're going to be gunning for. So please, if you are not already, please go and enter that. It is going to be a really awesome time. We have some fantastic partnerships on that. And if you have already entered, or if you want to do something else in addition, we also have the Macherino tonight. Coupon code Casa SFV49 for that free 50 cents into the Macherino pool.
And that's just for tonight. Tomorrow's matchup for the house party, we actually have 4 separate coupon codes, each for 50 cents. And we do have a bunch of giveaways going on tomorrow with our fabulous partners there, Grinding Coffee Co., along with a number of others. When you pick up that Macherino page, there is right on the front, it tells you exactly how much of a donation will give you how many entries into those giveaways. So definitely be sure to hit up those codes. If you haven't already entered in, even if we don't get Sermi's money, which we'll definitely feel bad about, but even if we don't get that, it's still Swiss bracket. You are guaranteed a bucket load of games. There is no O tours tomorrow. It's just not a thing. You can at worst go like 0-4. It's so much better. You get so many more games. You can play a bunch with your friends, and it's still going to be that competitive environment with the Macherino there as well. Last time I checked, it was at $874, by the way. So definitely a huge event. Like Brad said, multiple streams, multiple games. You cannot go wrong by entering that event. So hit the link, sign up, run the codes, and we're heading into our next matchup. Brad, once again, it is going to be Shine versus Carlton Banks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the expectation is that Shine is going to be staying on the Cody, not just the Cody, the knife Cody. Very specific. Not going to see that pipe. We never see it. Carlton Banks more than likely going to be sticking with the birdie. We've talked about it earlier. I don't think that we've traditionally seen any other characters represented on the side of Carlton Banks.
I think it's fun. I think Knife Cody is fun. Uh, and it's clearly working. Like we've seen, like not only are they in super deep in the top 8 here, but when we saw them up against Tortilla Jones, they were really catching them off guard with how quick the knife sequences were a lot of the time. And so we'd get a button press into activation into that low forward, and it would just blow them up. And then you combo that into the rest of the sequence, and all of a sudden you get your game going. So for now, this will be an interesting one, particularly because I feel like you can kind of really over-aggress on both of these characters.
I'm intrigued that Shine is still playing Crime Sway here. I feel like, I don't know, either it's a comfort pick kind of thing, or maybe there's a very specific reason why he is picking that into birdie. Like maybe you use it to backsway like a dolphin dive or something else weird like that. But I would have anticipated V-Skill 1 on the side of Shine. I very much associate the Crime Sway with fireballs, although we are seeing that as a pretty common activation route for Shine. So maybe that's just what it really comes down to. Not seeing it for the dolphin dive. Hypothesis tested.
Proven false. I was gonna say, wouldn't skill 1 work effectively the same too?
Yeah.
Because it is that like DP light type of situation to get you out of trouble.
Yeah, I would imagine as much. Oh no, a little too far away. Doesn't get the follow-up. What's the plus frames on the Zonk? Nah, we just walk him back. Not dealing with the throw game. But Shine watched a wholesale walk back. So you're probably going to see maybe a delayed low button next time.
banana. It's out, holding steady. Is going to finally disappear, but it's just a little bit of HP left. Any single hit here from Carlton will do it. So they just got to play safe. There's only 10 seconds left on the clock, by the way, as the anti-air comes through.
Yeah, I mean, that's, once again, we saw this in Carlton Banks' earlier matchup. When it gets to this later point, if you have the life lead as Birdie, that works out decently well. You've got a lot of the tools necessary to just clinch it out and play solid as long as you're already in the neutral.
Yeah. Oh, nice little cross up there. Takes over the corner here. Keeps the pressure going. And Carlton's actually looking really strong here in the first 2 rounds. Lots of nice sequences, applying a lot of pressure that, you know, Shine trying to break their way through, but they're not being given the space to do so.
EX Zonk VV reversal those. Doesn't want to deal with any of the offense. And it's pretty clear that Carlton Banks just wants to stay in this mid-range and to never be defensive against a zone 0 Shine.
Yeah, a little bit of a up and over there. Does put Carlton to the corner. The knife is out and fishing away with it. Nice little armor through just to get out of the corner. And oh, that's pain. Interruption on the EX Zonk. Ah, and he gets the EX throw.
All right.
Welcome.
Banana working out. Shine. Oh, overcommit. It's not what you want to see in the first game. Goes to Carlton Banks. And, I mean, is there a justification for the V-Skill 1 shift at all? I don't rightly know. Just because Crime Sway didn't do a whole lot doesn't mean the other one is going to bring much more to him. If you're comfortable with it, sticking with it is probably preferable. We are sticking with the same loadout here for Shine. So we're going to have to make some adjustments in another way.
Yeah, I don't know if the skill change really does a whole lot here, just by way of how this matchup has been playing out. We haven't really seen a whole lot of the usage there that, you know, successful or not. So swapping over to the skill 1 does give you a little bit more flexibility, maybe. We wouldn't know unless we saw it. So if you're comfortable with one, like you said, Brad, definitely makes the right move. I like that V reversal too. Just get out of danger, get out of dodge, puts him back in the corner, and even trading there, Carlton comes out ahead.
Right, there's the knife activation there from Shine. Gets the throw that time. We've seen Carlton Banks pretty content to just walk back in a whole lot of these situations. Very clearly not threatened by any sort of low offense out of Shine, which is a whole other kind of thing, right? Like, what does Cody have to dissuade this backwards movement from Carlton Banks outside of being right on top of him?
Yeah, and it's so hard to get on top of him because Carlton's ready for it. We've seen the EX Zonk, we've seen walking forward, we've seen a lot of different options from Shine so far to try and bridge that gap, and Carlton just seems ready for it. And that time, nice little surviving of the knife again. That trigger has not done a whole lot in this specific matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like part of the strength of the other V-trigger from Cody, right, is you get those big volatile swings, so you're able to better maximize these damage opportunities when you do get in. What we're instead seeing is Shine is trying to play this neutral-focused game, and it's just kind of not working out. Even when you have the knife loaded, and it gives you this, you know, additional range and threat on these buttons, Carlton Banks is just not worried. He's just not hitting buttons, just walking back.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what we would see in the trigger 2 situation here for Shine as well, and I'm thinking like, oh, well, you add in the command grab, but that actually wouldn't come into play a whole lot because of the distance they've been playing at for a lot of the rounds here. So it could potentially be a nice little, you know, danger threat, but you got to be in range. You can't just, you know, leap across the screen like Birdie can.
Gets the chip kill, does Carlton Banks to close it out. So to piggyback on your point, I think one of the things is, you know, between the Rock's ability to bring something different to the ground game and the setup game, and the fact that the command grab is always a threat in any moment where you have plus frames, and given that Carlton Banks is already spending virtually all of their V gauge on nullifying these plus frame situations, it kind of means that you enforce that even more. The worst case scenario is you kind of trade your V trigger for their V trigger, but that doesn't work if you're already on the back foot on the matchup. I don't know. I think you're right ultimately in that there's something else that needs to be here fundamentally before we can start to evaluate whether the V trigger is making the difference because the matchup is lost before it gets to that point.
hmm And as we went back to the character select screen, we will see if it is going to be the Cody to close out this series, or if we are going to get a different character in here from Shine. And it is going to be an adjustment. I know Dom's freaking out behind the scenes. It's Lucia coming in with her cup of coffee, and we'll see if this makes the difference. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of this character this season, and all I have to go on is James Chen's Twitter ramblings.
All right, well we're betting it all on the Lucia.
Yeah, that's true. No option to change after this because it is 2-0 to Carlton.
There's an element of knowledge check at play here, first and foremost, because Lucia is one of the lesser represented characters. So, you know, Carlton Banks, if there's an unfamiliarity, you've got to learn, and you've got 3 games to do it. You got to close out one thing. Finding the DP to deal with the cross up there was Shine.
Remember when Strider was trying to make this character work on SFL? Back in season 1.
Ah, right. Well, I mean, I'm over at the salt mine a lot, and Will Tupac has a nasty Lucia.
Ooh. That was a nice little mix-up there. The Fireball game actually playing a lot better for Shine here. And that's where that matchup is coming to play there, right? Because, like, you're paying attention for these Dalsim-esque fireballs, then all of a sudden she just kicks it at you. Well, we actually got a trigger change from Carlton, too. Did we?
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, it was V-Trigger 1 in the previous matchup, so we did see the trigger change. That's interesting. The implications of it are interesting. I wonder if the expectation is that she is going to play this more fireball-facing game, so you use the V-Trigger to threaten it.
Yeah.
But that might actually be the first round that Shine took in this whole set so far. So, obviously, straight out the gate, the character switch is working.
Yeah, and it's coming out quite nicely. I mean, we're getting good damage off of these full, combos here. Back into the corner is going to armor out into the activation, and it's trigger 2 time. As soon as that flip comes in, I think you kind of got to throw it out. But look at that. He tried. It got beat.
Yeah, it was a little too close. The fireball angle working out wonderfully. Late on the slide trap there, or I should say the timing of the slide into the fireball was not enough to keep them safe. Shine, hey, there's the activation into the shimmy. It works out.
Tries to get the dash up there. It doesn't quite connect as we eat a donut. But the bounce, it's so hard to deal with. And it's really interrupted a lot of what Carlton is trying to do. Double command grab, not enough to kill though. Just needs a little bit more.
But you're exactly where I love to see this. 25 seconds left on the clock. You have the life lead. Shine doesn't really have anything. Just don't do anything too risky. The whiff punish on the slide, and Shine is at set point. The bravery of those command grabs.
Listen, you got nothing else to lose. It makes sense. That one maybe a little bit overcommittal, but not too big a punish there. Does get beat out a little bit though. But back to the wall. Carlton not too concerned with busting out, it would seem. I feel like that could have been scary.
Yeah, but working out. Ooh. All right, counter poke stand jab, or stand short rather, from Carlton Banks. Working out. Did the can just trade with the fireball there? That was interesting.
Did it? I thought it just went over it, but my eyes may have deceived me. That would be an interesting situation to find, right? But I mean, a lot of times Carlton can't even get the can to the ground. As soon as they take a sip, they just get blasted.
Ooh. Spending the bar to close it out. The first game on the board now for Shine. Carlton Banks dies fully loaded.
Yeah. That is a nice thing, and it's up to Carlton to adjust, right? We're going to be heading back to character screen, it looks like. So I think Carlton's recognizing that Trigger 2 didn't do what they were looking to do, I have to imagine. Because, I mean, from the outside looking in, you're using it to beat those fireballs, and it didn't. Like just straight up didn't work out that way. So we'll find out in just a second. But yeah, I mean, it's Lucia forever now. Like we got two more games potentially here. Carlton only needs one, whereas Shine can just make the run back, reverse sweep.
I mean, easier said than done, though. Carlton Banks is a really strong competitor, and this V-Trigger change could end up being huge. That V-Trigger 2 was more or less entirely nullified. Yup, that straight back to the V-Trigger 1. We tried, the hypothesis was tested, and it failed. We're learning about the scientific method tonight here, ladies and gents.
Yeah, I mean, you got the games to work with, right? As long as you don't, lose two more games, you're in good shape. So you have that extra game to play with. Now you're into +1 in a best of 3 is what we'll call it. No, best of 2. Best of I don't know. Math is hard. But that's that crush counter that we were talking about earlier. It's a crush now, but you don't get the same follow-up that you used to.
Oh my god, this fireball game from Shine just, it's like it doesn't have quite the same threat as a more traditional fireball game, because obviously Carlton isn't being forced to directly interact with a lot of these fireballs, but look at all the bar that Shine has been able to get unchallenged.
Yeah. Woo! Does get eaten out of it that time. Even punishes the V shift. That is huge. Lots of damage cashing out. Does need a little bit more for stun, but look at this. They can just walk him down from here on out. And the fireball is actually causing so many problems for Carlton, because you have the two arcs, right? You have that more Dhalsim arc, and then you can just kick it into a traditional arc. And so Carlton, when they see it go up high, they're going for the drink of the can, and then Lucia just kicks it right at him. But this corner pressure, insane, and it's enough!
Wow. That round was so good for Carlton until it wasn't.
Up until they're losing, they're winning. That was tough too. And look at that. Like, what are you supposed to do? You just trade with the fireball, and all of that momentum that you've been slowly building up to is gone.
I think there's pockets on the screen where maybe you can try to utilize it to like dash forward, but even then, like it's still, you're never gonna.
Oh,
it's
that's
hard
huge.
to react to it being left alone. CA cash out. You're gonna be still alive, but you're
Not
like
by
worried
a
about
lot.
so many things. Oh, the hunger was vast. The armies were minimal.
Yeah, but that wasn't even a whole lot of damage, realistically. Like, it was a full punish off of the whiffed command grab. Were they stunned? Yeah, holy crap, that's a lot of damage.
Ooh, that was a tricky reset. Carlton was ready for it. The counter jab through the fireball traps, and now set point here for Carlton with some really smart counter jabs and a great block on that tricky cross-up reset.
Yeah, and Carlton recognizing they just need a little bit more space to throw out the can. They do get beaten up a little bit, but I mean, this is pretty even at this point. I think Carlton's starting to get that read that they really needed, and Shine is now starting to be limited by the character pick a little bit.
Okay. EX run, finding the back throw, setting up the fireball. Okay, a jump back. I mean, the difficulty here is like, you back off, but you're surrendering space for no real reason. You don't have the life lead. Like, you're perfectly content to deal with a lot of this if you do have the life lead. All right, spinning the bar for some big damage.
Does get interrupted on the first charge. Goes for a second one just for giggles, as they do get thrown back into the corner, surviving this onslaught. But trigger active means you do bounce those fireballs a little bit, and the shimmy check is going to be enough for the game. We're heading to a game 5 once again, Brad.
Yeah, Carlton Banks seems as though he's been biting in the shimmy a fair bit. And I feel like that's where a lot of the damage from Shine has come now that the Lucia pick has really happened. It wasn't there. I wonder what it is about the character. Is it just a question that Shine on the Lucia, between the meter build and just the difference in the character kit, is getting in more often to have more opportunities to shimmy? Because with the Cody, we didn't see it working out, but maybe I'm just feeling as though it didn't happen, not because Carlton didn't bite in the shimmy, but because Shine simply never had the opportunity to do it that we're now seeing with the Lucia.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the right take, because I mean, we talked about it at length where adding a command grab wouldn't have done anything because you just weren't there. So I think it's just the Lucia is in more often, And a lot of it is actually coming down to the fireballs, I think, believe it or not, because it's eaten so much of the can pressure that even in situations like this, like look at that, the double can is beaten by double fireball, and it gave Shine so much room to work with. And now we're punishing triggers with reversals, and there's one hit left.
This is tough. And great backdash on Lucia as well, it seems like. Able to cover a fair bit of space. Finally gets the bullhead through the fireball. The spacing has been so difficult, and the timing has been so difficult for Carlton to make anything happen with that. But the low forward from Shine takes Shine to set point from a 2-0 deficit.
Yeah, this would be a full reverse sweep if Shine's able to clutch this up, and I fear it because we're gonna have to hear Bunch talk about it, which is really dreadful. So Carlton, please just pull it together, guy. You only needed one game. It's all you needed.
I mean, there's still time. Sitting fully stocked, spends the 1 bar, not gonna cash out too much, putting out the can. It's just the can is completely nullified. Like, you just don't get anything. In response to the can, Shine is able to send out the fireball, and it covers the space so well that Carlton Banks doesn't get to move forward behind it like you traditionally do.
Yeah, and the corner pressure coming in from Lucia has actually been quite nutty, as we do see him taken to the corner once again. Huge block on the activation, though. Definitely negative, and that is going to do it. Shine completes the reverse sweep. 3-2 over Carlton Banks and secures their loser semi spot.
Wow. What a performance. The Lucia pick working out in spades. I mean, it shouldn't surprise that much, right? Because Birdie's out here being a hooligan. Lucia called for backup. It went the way that the lore would dictate that it would go. Shine moving on to the loser semis finals to play opposite the winner of what I assume will be our next match of Destructive and My Lin.
That is correct, my good sir. So will, I have to imagine, be the Laura into Urian matchup. There is, however, some flexibility here. As we know, both of these characters do have pretty heavy secondaries. Mylin has pulled out the poison quite a lot, as well as Destructive is Zeku, right? The Zeku god, as we've seen previously. So could be interesting. I'd love to see both of those, actually.
It's crazy to me how commonly we're seeing at the top level now so many people that have super well developed secondary characters that are sincerely at tournament level, to the point that you can start to theory craft some of these matchups, or even see, like, how many times have we seen like Marvisto versus Fluxwaves with crazy counterpick on counterpick on counterpick stuff that happens to the point that you really can't make any kind of adjustment about what you're going to be looking at when you get in there. And that's become so much more common now. And I don't know if that's a result of the fact that everything being pushed to online and there not being a super high profile pro circuit this past year has meant that people were more comfortable developing their secondaries, or if it was just something to do with the patch. We do see the Zeku, not the Urian, represented here from Destructive.
I was going to just blame all of that on Fluxwaves, and then you brought actual analysis into it. So good job, Brad. As we do get the Zeku right off the rip, and first jump in goes the way of Mylin. This is a pretty interesting matchup because I think it overall might be a little bit better than the Urian, but it certainly doesn't look that way at this rate.
I mean, you're 2 for 2 on big jump-ins, tries to cheat out of the corner. Mylin has a standing strong, the glow fierce activate. That's a lore round if I've ever seen one. The only thing it's missing is 7 golden letters. But, you know, technically speaking, we can qualify it. It's good enough. Switch to the young Zeku here from Destructive. There's already a top-level matchup shift.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? You have basically 2 characters in one here with the Zeku, both strong in their own right. Old having that DP, but just getting beat out by the jump-in once again, and V shifts out, which is actually a little interesting because the V-trigger from Zeku here is actually super good, and you can get a lot of mileage out of it when you're fully able to utilize it, and the Mongoose even connects.
Yeah, I think the difficulty is, I mean, in general, you have to make decisions about how you utilize your V-Gauge. And Laura is a character who is going to force you to use it defensively. Another huge jump in into some big damage, goes for the throw. It doesn't matter what side you thought it was or you thought it wasn't. You're still getting scooped.
And maybe that trigger or V-Gauge conversation is actually why we're seeing the Zeku over the Urian, right? Because even though Urian doesn't need Aegis activation, it is such a crucial part of the kit there that you get so much more mileage out of it when you're able to utilize it. Whereas Zeku, it's great, right? Like, don't get me wrong, the V trigger there from Zeku, amazing. But you don't need it. It's a nice combo extension and does some other things, but like, you can fully play with just old and young Zeku and get away with that.
Right, I get what you mean. He's not quite as backloaded as Urian has the potential to be in terms of where the power creep is and the pace of the match.
Yeah, that's
my
a
God.
scoop and a half. That's crazy. I mean, imagine just eating a Kuma Demon Flip. How much nonsense do they get away with because of that?
You can't keep getting away with it.
Exactly, and now we finally get an activation here from Destructive. Does get a little bit of corner pressure and looks to bring it back, but Myelin not afraid.
Right, finding the back throw. You're sitting pretty in this spot as Myelin. Destructive has this V-trigger. You know what? You almost take this as a blessing, right? Look at all these resources. Every single EX bar loaded in the bottom right of the screen is an EX clap that will be uncontested, and you don't even need them if you find the low forward buffer.
Yeah, and it fills you up nicely. Full tank of gas now, and you're not being punished on these round start jump-ins, and they even interrupted the swap? What? That's crazy. And so we do get the Mongoose flying down the screen. Corner now gained by Destructive. But like, Brad, like you're old Zeku, right? You have a DP, and you've gotten jumped in on every round start. We're 4 in a row now for it.
Oh my god, the standing medium kick. Next hit will stun. Okay, using the V reversal there, principally to get... Okay, using it again, but a big thing is just to get the stun away. Went for the cheeky stuff off the low forward into the Bushin flip, but Myelin is so ready. You do not get to use the gram. This is an American tournament, and we use the imperial system of measurement here.
God, do I hate it.
I mean, me too, man, but the reality is we're checking these grams at the door.
No kilometers here. They make too much sense. I'm actually kind of surprised we're sticking with Zeku for game 3 here. A lot of times we do see Destructive go for the character swap on game 3 if they're in a bad spot. Whether it's Urian to Zeku or Zeku to Urian, it's been a pattern that this player has in the past, and they are getting worked up and down this training ground. They're just getting obliterated.
Yeah, I mean, what this tells me more than anything is that Destructive must really hate Yuri and Laura.
Yeah, I mean,
Shimmy, no bite. Back throw, we're sending out the Mongoose, but the I was gonna say bravery with which that Myelin jumped out of the corner there, but like, what are you afraid of? Destructive has brought nothing to the table for Myelin to be afraid of. Jumps going uncontested, to your point. The ground game just not working. Grams entirely nullified.
Yeah, it's not looking good here, as we do see it is set point now here for Myelin, already 2 games down, 1 round ahead, and just keeping the pressure going. Trigger available here for Destructive, but they may just opt into using it as the V reversal. But if they can get 1 good hit, they can finally get an activate, but holding onto it a little bit longer.
I mean, do we see an activate?
Are they dead?
Oh, no, that jump in. No, not dead, but shimmy into the
Now they
bar,
are.
finds the throw, and there's the sweep. How many times? Like, did Destructive get away with a single gram? Like, they were all jumped in on, or EX elbow, or what have you. It was a thorough dismantling.
That was a very unfortunate series of events there for Destructive. They do fall out of our tournament here as Myelin does advance to find themselves up against Shine. So I mean, this is good. This is good Street Fighter 5. That was actually the first set to go 3-0 here in top 8 as well.
Yeah, so the question now becomes, one, does Shine continue to load in the Cody into the Myelin, or are we at a point now where the Cody goes to the back foot because you want the dub badly enough that you lean on some of your more developed characters? But before we look at that, if the lobby invitation is to be believed, I think that means that we are switching up over to the winners finals of Tortilla Jones and Punk. And while we do that, and while we wait for the players to load in, we do have the Matcherino. The link is there in the chat, as is the coupon code of Casa SFV49. 49 for the 49th week that we have been doing this. Week 50 is next week, and that is insane. Tomorrow is the Casa House Party, which is even more insane, as we are going to have 4 streams up for 4 different Swiss pools, 2 players out of each pool for a top 8 after the fact. If you are not signed up for that or not keeping that on your radar to be watching, it's going to be such a great event. We have some fantastic partners that we're working with in order to realize this event for you guys. So I'm super excited that we're getting to do it.
Yeah, I mean the House Party Matcherino 2 is available. That one actually, it's deep in the Smash GG, so I'll just post that for you as well. We do have stretch goals for that. We do have a stretch goal for $1,000 there, which we're incredibly close to, and then at $1,100, obviously we talked about earlier, Bunch will do the Ice Bucket Challenge, and for every donation there, you are entered into a giveaway of at least $1, and so the list is on there as well. And we do feature giveaways here from Grinding Coffee Co., Matcherino Mercherino, and obviously Casa Bunch merch as well. So be sure to hit that Matcherino. We're getting so close to those stretch goals, guys. You aren't going to want to miss that, as well as you are not going to want to miss this winner's final matchup between Punk and Tortilla Jones, and Punk is starting to run away with it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, talking about not missing, Punk was 2 for 2 on cross-cut DPs there, not missing with the DP input on the cross-cut. Tortilla Jones allowed to run some offense here. That hit pretty meaty, but no follow-up. We see the V-trigger activation, a V-reversal answer from Punk.
Yeah, even reversals to keep him back into the corner. Does get the throw as well, looking for a little bit of bait. But Jones not willing to bite just yet, even gets a little bit of a jump up, but cross-cut again!
Does not miss. Punk looking warm, challenges the forward roll to blow it up. 28 seconds left on the clock. It doesn't even matter. Both players going into this next round pretty loaded up here. All right, an anti-air there as Punk attempts for a jump in at round start, but the back throw gets Punk in a dominant corner position here.
Yeah, and it's just going for those hit confirms again that, obviously they're known for. Chases him again, throws him back to the corner, says you cannot escape this pressure. And as soon as Jones starts getting something going, they just get EXDP'd right in the face.
Ooh, the hit confirm ability finds the stand roundhouse. Next hit could be stun. I don't think a back throw stuns. Okay, stun going away, but it's not going to matter. Punk is going to be able to capitalize enough damage on the right next hit. Unless it ends up being a back throw.
Yeah, I think that would have stunned, but it's still just a pixel, and with CA available, Punk can go for the chip out, and there it is. Game 1 Punk.
Yeah, that was pretty clean. I think Tortilla Jones really only got the one extended sequence in that first round in the corner, but wasn't able to bring it to the finish line necessarily, and then that second round was just pretty clean for Punk, outside of the one anti-air on the jump in, but I mean, Punk's ground game so strong. Going to the air is more of a question of just like, hey, you're still watching for this, right? Because you should be.
Yeah, and I mean, Punk doesn't even have to go to the air. I mean, you saw right there, just going for the heavy kick, just does 3 in a row, gets a crush into the stun, and may be able to finish out here. Not yet, just needs a little bit more. One back throw will do it, or maybe even another heavy kick.
Or a low forward. Buffered into DP, hitting this man with the golden letters. Punk looking super dominant right now.
Yeah, I mean, they know the matchup. There used to be a billion Rashids in the CPT world, so definitely a lot of practice here. And it's just taking them to the cleaners, realistically. Bit of a whiff there on the EX Tatsu, but this may just be a bit of a bait, right? Give them false hope here in the middle of the round just to crush it afterwards.
I don't know, we'll see. The low forward into the fireball there, trying to slowly inch The way out is Punk. Okay, finds the challenge on the forward roll. So patient on defense there. V-break represented from Tortilla Jones to try to stall the matchup once again.
Oh.
There's the activation, but it whiffs, I think, because it was a crush counter.
That tracks. We talked about the suction on it a little bit earlier, but you just hit him too hard, right? You just sent him flying with such force that the vacuum cleaner wasn't enough, and now it just needs one little bit of HP. CA chip is available. Doesn't even need it. Just goes for the jab trade.
Yeah, that was tough. I think Tortilla Jones seemed a little worried worried about earning the chip kill on block. I mean, obviously, there's also the greed element to it of wanting to keep the bar going into the next round, but like Punk was also sitting fully stocked and could have mashed out a reversal at any point. So you're definitely worried in that situation. Like you should be worried in this situation because now you're dealing with the throw loops. I thought they got rid of those in season 2, but if you respect the ground game enough, it's not gonna matter. Into the overhead, no, blocks the DP. It finally comes out from Tortilla Jones and Punk was ready for it. Is this disrespect? This is some disrespect.
That is 100% bad manners. That was... We're having fun here tonight, Brad, is what it really boils down to. That is going to be 2 games now on the board for Punk. 1 game away from taking grand finals winner's side this time.
Yeah, I mean, does Tortilla Jones have something else to bring to the table?
Round 1.
We're going in. We took a little bit of time, so maybe a bit of a breather, but it's just like, it's so hard to say, like, it's so clear that the problem here is that Punk is just dominating on the ground. But how do you say, yeah, just, you know, contest with Punk, one of the best players in the world, and, you know, step up to their ground game?
It's definitely just win, right? That's all you got to do. If you hit the button first, you should deal damage. And what we're seeing here is Jones is not pressing buttons first a lot of the time.
Slowly backing off. There's the activation V-reversal answer from Punk. That's been the pretty consistent thing. I don't want to deal with anything. And Punk has consistently challenged all of these things. Tortilla Jones is not getting away with any fake stuff. Punk is challenging him for it every single time and working. Are we going to see the sweep? Is Punk going to get away into grand finals out of Winterside this uncontested? Tortilla Jones has the corner position now opposite Punk.
Yep, is going to get back thrown though for their trouble. So now Punk back again in his dominant position, going for the throw loops once again. Does get a little bit punished, but there's just too much pressure. Finally though, Jones going to get a little bit of something going. Activation into eagle kick. Back to the corner we go.
Okay, the next hit into CA, I think, could take it here for Tortilla Jones if you find it. So naturally, Punk is going to dash forward like the madman that they are. Low forward activate. Ooh, okay, a round on the board for Tortilla Jones. But Punk could still take this. Punk still fully loaded. Then that's a huge lead to get if you get it. Crosscut DP again, does not miss. You keep going to the air and it keeps not working.
Yes, it's a tough life, right? Now you've given Punk, this player who, you know, we all know for their hit confirms on Kareem, and now you've given them a DP. So they had a DP. No, that actually blows up my whole point that I was going to make. So Punk's just really good, guys.
Yeah, I mean, no great shock there. This is not going to shock the scientific community. There's the V-trigger activation. Spending the V-shift just to get back. Going straight into the CA as Tortilla Jones. Okay, so that's interesting. The V-shift back. Tortilla Jones overextends to fill the space that Punk has vacated. Only to find that Punk is ready to defend that space anyway. And cashes out. Oh my god, a jump in worked. A jump in actually worked for Tortilla Jones, leading to this big sequence.
Has CA available as well, with just a little bit more needed for... Oh, he was too far away, I guess. That's unfortunate for him, but doesn't get a full punish, so it is still possible for Punk to do something, but he gets booted into the next game.
Wow. Okay, so
That was odd.
I mean, the jump in obviously ended up critical, but like that was a little bit of Punk playing with his food, right? I feel like that's not. I usually don't like to call it like that, but I feel like that's a little bit of what that was, right? Maybe a little bit.
Fight.
I feel
Maybe.
like did you need to use the V trigger there? I mean, maybe the spacing was just slightly off and it would have ended it. You know, he knows better than me.
I mean, it did kind of look like Jones was playing around with the spacing there before going for that EX tornado. As we do see the stun come in. Nice little bit of a sequence here. Does still need one more for the game round.
All right, fishing for low forward DP activate, I think, or low forward activate. Now finds the sweep. Okay, we're playing a little bit more conservative.
Oh, loop's going to get broken up. Activation into reversal. Only needs one here for it and is going to challenge the run nicely.
Round 2. Fight.
Boop, boop, boop.
Welcome.
So we're getting pretty close here. It still is one game lead here for Punk. It's 2-1. They do need to win 2 rounds in a row now to find themselves in the grand finals. That is a huge crush counter opportunity being just simply handed over. Just needs a little bit more for the stun as well, but the bust out here from Jones.
Yeah, working out wonderfully. I mean, we're starting to see maybe there's some adjustments here. Ooh, the walk back. I'm sorry, your throw attempt. It has become my shimmy. There's the low forward V-trigger activation. Cashes all the way out for maximum damage. Punk back on set point once again. Are we going to see the more stable play from Punk, though? Or are we going to see choke once again?
It's a good question. You know, we've seen some silly things here from Punk tonight, but you know, they're still winners, right? They don't really need to turn it on just yet. They do still have that second life there, but for now they're back to the wall, kind of getting beat up a little bit, but they're gonna bust out now here with that trigger activation. Doesn't even need to spend a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, both players loaded with CA here. Look for a V-trigger activation route from Tortilla Jones. Could have been that off the standing medium kick, but I think once the cash out on hit, there it is on hit to get a little bit more damage. No, in fact, to use the tornado to get closer in range and open up a mix-up. Jump in unchallenged from Punk.
That's okay.
Cashing out the V-trigger, and now this could be a one-touch game. The low forward into the CA activation. Is this going to kill is the question. I think
No.
it's just a hair away, and Tortilla Jones has potentially one more chance. The standing
The
jab check
overhead.
into the overhead.
It's the first time we've seen that from Punk here in top 8 at all, by the way. So finally busting out the foot drop there. It's right at the perfect time. They get the round, they get the game, they get the series, and they're going to be finding themselves in grand finals winner side.
I mean, sometimes you literally save tools for those moments, right? Like, no one's yoga sniping to not close out a round, right? Let alone, you know, if you are able to keep it on deck that whole time to bring it out at that last second. But yeah, a great series of I mean, Tortilla Jones managed to make something of a comeback in a little bit there, managed to avoid the sweep, kept those last 2 games or so super tight, and is obviously going to have another opportunity down in the losers bracket, but waiting to play them is the winner of Shine and Mylin.
And this is another matchup that I think could be interesting, right? Because we've seen Poison versus Cody before. Granted, it was Flux versus Moons, but we've seen that matchup before. We know it is quite bad for Cody, but I think Mylin is just on fire with the Laura. I don't see a reason to character swap at this point. They've been just steamrolling everybody up to this point, even though they're in loser side. Once top 8 started, it was like a switch just flipped Brad, and Mylin is just running through these people.
Yeah, I just double checked the bracket, and Mylin was sent to losers by Carlton Banks. So that's
So we missed Double Jeopardy already. Cool.
Welcome.
Right?
yeah. So we are seeing the Laura versus the Cody.
Round 1.
Yep, the same loadout, the crime sway and the knife represented here from Shine. At least I think in this matchup you can try to use the crime sway around the thunderclaps and at least represent it a little bit. I think it fits better than when we saw Shine play against Carlton and try to utilize it against Birdie, and it just simply didn't bring anything to the matchup.
Yeah, and then, you know, so far we haven't seen too many Thunderclap attempts. He's going to get a huge jump in here, though. Takes the corner pressure. Sunset wheel for the Oki. Even gets the elbow afterwards. V-break, not going to do anything because it's V-reversaled right back into the corner. All right. Missing on the command grab, though.
Yeah. All right. This is a pretty good position here for Shine. The counter jab, it was the crouch jab this time. The V-trigger activation out of the V-shift, chasing all the way down, but manages to find purchase in... Oh my god, her offense just never ends.
That would have been a great time to V-break because there was no opportunity for a reversal. But, I mean, the reversal technically... or the trigger activation from Mylin was after the shift, so I think Shine may have been a little concerned to break since it had already been reversaled at that point, but because of that fear, we saw the sequence follow it up afterwards, and it ended up giving Mylin the round as we do get that Thunderclap chase down.
Yeah, this is looking really tough here for Shine right now. Meaty Thunderclap, the shimmy, bites. The fish are biting today. Mylin getting the first game on the board. And I feel like, I mean, Shine has played a bunch of times against like some of the best lore in the world, but I don't know about this matchup, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, you can play, you know, the best lore in the world, right? Like, you could play 400 sets against IDOM, but sometimes you then go into, you know, random ranked matches and you just hit a Laura that for some reason has your number. And there's not really much you can do about that. All the prep in the world, all the training in the world can only do so much for you when you're flipping wrong, right? When your mindset is not where it needs to be.
Looks like the mindset is to play a little bit slower here, but now just like that, off of one jump in, Mylin is in. Now you're stuck in the corner and you have to deal with it. Everything up until this point doesn't matter. It's a different game now.
Yeah, and we are going to see a little bit of action there. You know, the V-reversal out, trying to buy some space with these tornadoes, but the jump-ins have been so scary from Mylin. Even that's a concern. And I'm actually starting to wonder if, you know, skill 1 wouldn't be good here, Brad. Because, like, yes, we're seeing these thunderclaps, but, you know, the overt pressure that you would be able to potentially, you know, beat back with the skill usage instead of having to really burn through these reversals.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough altogether. Slowly inching out of the corner here is Shine. Has to spin the V reversal again, but now you just have to deal with it. Blocks the overhead that time, but the fireball makes it safe.
Oh, finally
Okay.
going to get an anti-air.
Plus frames. I think if I'm Shine, I'm looking at this clock here, and I am just doing exactly this. Just waiting for Mylin to have to make some sort of big decision. Finds the anti-air and gets a round on the board.
Yeah, good stuff here. We'll see if they can keep that going. The jump-ins have been a huge problem for them so far. So to see them start getting these anti-airs down is a nice little improvement. And Mylin not afraid to go to the air still.
Yeah, I mean, part of the thing is the value that she gets out of getting the jump in is huge. And in a matchup like this one where she's trying to work her way in and Shine is trying to play this ground game to keep her from opening up her game, it's like you need to anti-air me 4 or 5 times before the risk reward of me landing once goes out of my favor.
And we're going to see the first knife activation of the series so far, which means there's no real defensive option here outside of Crime Sway for Shine as they do get kind of blown up here. Just a sliver of health remaining. And Mylin, once again, back to the defensive. Only needs 1 to do it. And Heavy Kick will certainly bridge that gap.
Okay, I mean, what do you do with Shine? I mean, we're seeing it. in representing the fireball game more, doing all of these things to force Laura to have to be mindful of every tool that you're bringing in so that she can thread the needle. The problem is when she threads that needle exactly like that, now you have to deal with it. Counter hit, standing light punch elbow, blowing it up. The second try, I had a second bar, sir.
Yeah, a little bit of an overcommitment there from Mylan though with the overhead, and now we're seeing Shine able to get a sequence going here. Just tries to keep the corner pressure, but reversals back to mid screen. So Brad. So it's one apiece here, round score. Shine finally has an advantage. Trigger not available for Mylan. I was gonna ask you what we need to see, but it seems like Shine has the answer.
This could still very easily go Mylin's way, though. Mylin has VT. Okay, setting up the simplest of traps. I got an EX Fireball on the ground. I have a knife above it. You can't do a whole lot of anything. Game on the board for Shine. I think what Mylin maybe needed to do was just kind of be content to block that. And then, I guess, hope you guess right in the subsequent mix-up. But obviously that doesn't feel too great to say, right? Because the whole point is you need to find the opportunity for the V-trigger activation, and her de facto roots, she needs a little bit more room for those de facto roots.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a nice little sequence there from Shine. Knew what they were trying to get out of the situation, and when they got it, they reacted appropriately. And so now, Crime Sway gonna trade actually there with the Thunderclap. So now, once again, pressure actually going to Shine's way. They seem to be having Mylan's number now.
I mean, it's the adjustments. Shine is obviously an incredibly high caliber player, so going to be able to make the adjustments to the type of energy that people are bringing to the table and figure out what they need to do in order to blow some of this stuff up. V-shift out of the V-trigger activation mix from Mylan. Doesn't want to deal with none of it. Surrenders the whole screen, but the fact that Shine keeps backing off and then getting the fireball out to work their way back in on their own terms is not trivial.
Yeah, and I mean, something that has been pretty pivotal so far as we do see a sequence coming through here. The whiffed command grab is going to doom the round, but what's pretty pivotal is Shine is no longer throwing fireballs for space. They're just giving up screen time, and so it's removing a lot of that jump in pressure that Mylan had in the first game, and it's giving Shine these punish opportunities, these whiff punishes, these just straight up neutral punishes, and it's opening a lot of doors so far.
I feel like, had the pocket sand ready. Mylan was not ready for it, finding the back throw off of the target combo. So now Shine has this whole screen to work with. Mylan trying to cheat forward. Okay.
Ooh, the V-shift there doesn't get fully punished, but still found themselves on the defensive side there. Tried to jump out and gets blown up by the air, reset, and just keep the pressure coming as Mylan picks up another round.
This matchup has been so back and forth between these two players.
It's been such adjustment too. I was honestly concerned after game one that we were going to be seeing another 3-0 because Mylan was just looking that hot on the keys, and Shine's done a great job at bringing it back through subtle adjustments, through big adjustments, and it's 1-1 apiece in game score and round scores. We do see the Sunset Wheel connect.
Fireball trades. Ooh, anti-air trades even. Shine. Oh, what a good whiff punish there from Mylan as we whiff punish the EX Zonk. The EX Fireball from slightly farther range there from Mylan, and now sitting pretty with the life lead here. No whiff punish on the whiffed hammer. We're seeing Shine try to play for some of these de facto activation routes. No, instead just elects to back off and activate Raw.
Let's get a little bit of something going on here, though. Nice V-shift out of the knife pressure. So it buys you a little bit more screen time. Forward throw, actually. And they just get the connection. All right, Shine.
Oof.
Cody wins.
I know that's one of the things that I think people like about the knife is obviously the difference in the way that it affects some of his mid-range buttons, right? But like the ability to just threaten and get that additional damage off of these low checks is a bigger deal too. It's just like we're not commonly seeing it because some of these tools are, well, I mean, more than the spacing and the opportunities that Shine gets, it's that this is another matchup tonight where Shine ends up spending a lot of the V gauge defensively.
Yeah, I don't know how much the pipe changes it though, right? Because
It doesn't. It means that when you're in the driver's seat and you're on the back foot, you can make a comeback easier.
yeah,
But I don't think I don't think it solves a
longer.
problem that we're seeing.
Once again, the Swig gets beaten out by the Thunderclap Rat, so I don't know if our theory about this V-Skill is actually turning out to be correct. It's been beaten a number of times now, or I say beaten, but I mean trades, right? Which is
Yeah.
not ideal.
All right. Loading up another knife behind that tornado, and this is tough for Mylan. Any of these pokes into the V-Trigger special move will kill, and well, there you go. You don't even, if just the poke will do it.
That's a knife, Brad. It hurts.
Traditionally, it does. People die when they are stabbed.
What are you gonna do? Stab me? Final words from man who was stabbed.
Yeah, Shine on set point to be able to move up into the losers finals. Mylan needs to try to make this happen, but Shine's fundamental, just the ground game has just been so good. Ooh, the whiff punish on the forward fierce, and to be watching for the forward fierce in that situation when Mylan didn't even have V-Trigger on deck yet.
Yeah, I mean the fiery, Myelin that started this series, it seems to have burnt out a little bit, as we head into the later half here, and Shine just pixels away from taking this. Only needs one hit, just a single hit at this point to find themselves further in the tournament. And look at this, they're aware of it. They can just hang back. It's all under Myelin now to make this comeback. They don't have Trigger, they don't have CA. They are very limited in what they can do here.
It's not impossible. Laura has these crazy swings. It's just you have to spend the bar to work your way in. There we are with the check, and it is over. Shine taking it 3-1 over Mylan. And I mean, like, is it possible for Laura? Yes. But part of the advantage of the V-Trigger is obviously that so much more of your stuff cycles back into itself better. The overhead becomes a more legitimate threat. And in that situation, it's like you have to spend the EX bar to get in, which means you don't have it for cyclical offense when you do get the hits. It's just unfortunate altogether. What's not unfortunate is that if you like the type of action that you're seeing today, we got more of it. Not only do we have the losers finals coming up as Shine gets to play Tortilla Jones and grand finals with Punk waiting in it, but if you want to watch more, we got more tomorrow because we got the Casa house party. It is sitting right now at 31 attendees at 32 players. Sermi puts in $100 into the Matcherino of Sermi's own money. 4 streams, 4 Swiss pools, 2 players out of each pool to go and make it up to the top 8. That Matcherino is sitting at something like $850, $900 right now. If we get another
$880.30.
Well, there we are. If we get another player, that's going to jump up to $980. And we got some of those stretch goals for you. So if you have not already, please enter, tell your friends.
We have a lot of tonight's players in there as well as some other, East Coast standouts. I mean, obviously Punk, we have Flux Waves, Shine, the youngest of Arts, Sanchez in there as well, Space Boy, just all kinds of crazy nutty players. So you'll get to play the heck out of them tomorrow because it is that Swiss bracket, no O-Tours tomorrow. So definitely get involved, sign that link, hit the buttons, run the codes too. There are 4 separate coupon codes for tomorrow's event. That's $2 for every single one of you who runs every code.
As we jump into the losers finals, Shine versus Tortilla Jones. Tortilla Jones is the one who sent Shine to losers and winner's side top 8, won this matchup 3-1 up in the winner's side.
Yeah, Shine, though, having the losers time to warm up a little bit, might be ready for some of the shenanigans that Rashid can bring to the table. But we got the knife activation. It is just about halfway gone, as well as Jones's own activation. They're just kind of trading a little bit. Oh, Shine. Nice little punish. Throws the knife away. Even gets the sway to keep it going.
Ooh, finding the CA activation to close out the first round. An explosive end to the first round of the losers finals as Tortilla Jones steps out in the earliest of leads. Is it going to continue, or will Shine be ready for it? Or even more so, will Shine stay the course with Cody like they did in the winner's side? Or we've already seen the switch to Lucia in the pinch down here in the loser's side.
Yeah, and I don't know what we could actually see in the case because, you know, as we were kind of alluding to earlier with Lucia being on the lower end of pick rates, you know, is it a good matchup into Rashid? Does it get dumpstered by Rashid? Like, what is the true answer? And is Cody the better matchup at the end of the day? So, you know, it's only...
My guess is that my immediate assessment is that he would be. I feel like Rashid has the mobility to deal with some of Lucia's fireball stuff. Ooh, baits the pocket sand, but doesn't get anything out of it. Corner pressure here from Tortilla Jones trying to close out this round. Big crush counter. Next hit is stun. What do we see represented from Shine? V reversal defensively. Okay, that actually makes the difference on the stun critically.
Yeah, I mean, just needed a little bit off there, and they do the double zonk out, and they're managing to pick up the throw to close out the round.
Right, one round apiece.
Pretty even on resources as well, just under 2 bars from both of them, but corner pressure fully in control from Jones once again. I mean, this is kind of at a pain point for Shine. You know, we saw it a little bit in the Mylin set. We definitely saw it in the first set between, you know, these two. And Shine has had some trouble getting out of that dangerous situation.
Ooh, interesting, the neutral jump already being represented there. There's something that Shine is playing around. I wonder how much we'll see it now with the V-trigger. I imagine it's that. It's the forward roll that is trying to see some counterplay around on the side of Shine. So we're going to have to see how that ends up being utilized as the matchup evolves for this 3 out of 5. Ooh, okay.
Even gets the wall jump, stays in front though. Is gonna try and keep Cody here, but with the activation, you gotta be a little bit scary. Getting stabbed in the kneecap probably doesn't feel good. And so walking him down, just chipping away at that life bar. The jump over from Jones does give him a little bit of space to back up from here on out.
Trying to cheat forward with a dash, gets away with it. Ooh! Still gonna be alive. That back throw not gonna kill, but any poke should do it. The EX Zonk, you get to stay out of my space, says Shine, taking the first game. But again, this went 3-1 in Tortilla Jones's favor.
Yeah, that was definitely a slugfest. Like, that could have easily gone either way. And a lot of those rounds, we've only been 3 rounds in, and I mean, it very easily could have gone the other way.
Round 1. Fight.
Ooh, wow. Hammer round start just getting away as Tortilla Jones caught not holding some back. The second one, all the way back to the corner.
Yeah, look at this lead already. Just like round start, half HP gone from Tortilla Jones. And the roll under into activate. Gonna buy a little bit of space, but not a whole lot of damage.
Okay, pocket sand on wake up there from Shine. Would have just stalled a little bit of offense. Stuck in the corner here. Okay, finds the anti-air, does Tortilla Jones, but the dive going challenged. And now we have the knife.
Yeah, I like that this
corner offense.
Oh,
The range
man.
that he can threaten from, and the amount of time he has to hit confirm after that poke, I was so sure he had dropped that combo. Nay.
Yeah, that felt like an eternity, and I was going to talk about how the sway after the activation was a nice little link, but when you have 4 days to confirm after stabbing him with the knife, I mean, nobody's going to miss that. And Shine here, very well in tune with the character, and going to be able to take that first round here in the second game, but now Jones is coming in with a lot of pressure. Oh, backdash.
Well, backdash in a world with V-shift, Shine is still just backdashing. I feel like really exploring V-Shift hasn't happened quite as much. I won't say in America, because I don't watch as much West Coast as I could. I will say on East Coast tournaments, as say some other places like EU, where it seems like you see it a whole lot.
Oh, again,
my
the forever
God.
confirm. It's literally forever. Like, you have so much time.
Cody,
And it's so far away.
The fact that he had that much time for that super late follow-up, and then the CA has Cody going, believe it or not, I'm pretty busy, is like, I don't know, you had time to wait for this whole ass hit confirm. 2 games up for Shine. Shine obviously warmer than we saw in the winner's side.
Yeah, doubling his game score from the first time these two players met in brackets. So a win already in a certain sense, because that means that, you know, they're not getting washed tonight. Shine, I guess it's the loser side buff, right? Like, how many times do we see Shine coming down to losers and just doing exceptionally well?
I mean, there's that Zenkai boost. You know, sometimes it happens.
Must be all the
To
paint
see.
fumes in the basement.
Maybe that's it. It's pretty dangerous down there. When we bought the place, we forgone inspection. We just wanted to make everything go by a little bit smoother.
I mean, when you live in the sticks, do you really need an inspector, right? Like, it's just extra money spent. You don't need it.
Right, finding the back throw on the target combo. There is Shine straight into the EX Zonk. Has to spend the V reversal. Ooh, I'm surprised there wasn't like a whiff punish. Oh no, you V reversaled into the corner, you fool!
It's to trap themselves. And just look at the knife. It's so far away. You get so much time. And even with the V reversal, it's not enough to save you. You're just going to get shanked.
Okay, Shine is on set point here.
For the 3-0 too. Like, Jones
Yeah.
has not won a game here the second time around.
Jones hasn't. I mean, have we seen a single reversal represented from Jones? I'm looking down, and Tortilla Jones is sitting on full CA, but we're not seeing any reversals.
Yeah, no DP attempts whatsoever. It's relying a lot on the V reversal here. And Shine just doesn't care. Like, reversal all you want. I'm going to hunt you down with this EX Zonk and just hit me harder because I'm going to pull a knife on you. And it's going to happen. Look at that EX Zonk again. And no reversal. You spent that entire round with 3 bars of meter and you never once let it rip.
Yeah, Shine was not afraid at any particular moment of Tortilla Jones doing, you know, anything. So managing to clean sweep 3-0 in the double Jeopardy situation. Oh, I didn't see. Managing to blow it up. Sorry, I got distracted because we do have a 30-second player in the Matcherino, so I was tagging Sermi to let them know. Not the Matcherino, on the house party tomorrow.
We'll see how that pans out. Oh boy. So I actually really liked that scent from Shine, because something that we talked about the first time around is we talked about how scared Shine was playing and how defensively they were spending their time and, you know, backing up a lot, not really being aggressive as much, and it was giving Jones a lot of room to play around with. But that said, much more aggressive, EX zonking into nowhere, getting those infinitely long confirms off of the knife, and it just looked so different. And with that 3-0 victory, it does confirm our grand final matchup here today, Brad. It is going to be Punk to God versus Shine. It is going to be a little bit of a shenanigan, though, because it is going to be Cody versus Ken.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. They had not played today, obviously seated in opposite ends of the bracket. So Punk is playing a Marvel match at the moment, says Shine. So we have a little bit of downtime, which we can use to remind all of you that the house party is tomorrow. We've been hyping it up for a hot minute. I won't shut up about it tonight, but the house party is tomorrow. We are going to have 4 streams, 4 streamers, 4 Swiss pools. Swiss pools, if you don't know, mean you get to play everybody in your pool. The top 2 winningest players in the pool are the ones who move out into the more traditional top 8. It's going to be an awesome time. We've got some great streaming partners in, Get Good FGC, Trace Complete, obviously Damn It Dom running one. I am
Incendium.
double checking. Thank you. I wanted to make sure that I spoke no mistruths, so I started to pull it up on the side. But yeah, awesome, fantastic sponsors. We have Grinding Co. Coffee partnered with us for it. I think Red Bull did as well.
Yes, they did. And obviously Maturino helping out a lot, both as an organization and then Sermi themselves personally. So huge shout out to them. This event's going to be huge. If you're not involved, get involved. Like, it is not too late. You haven't missed the boat.
Yeah, I am double checking. I know signups tomorrow end at noon. I believe the event starts at 2. I don't know when check-in and everything is, but I believe the streams are due to go live at 2, and I am double checking that now.
Oh, hey, Brad, I do want to point out that we've had a very generous contribution to tomorrow's house party match, Reno. Huge shout out to Sermi for the $100 direct contribution, and that does bring our total prize pool to $980. $20 off of our first stretch goal of $1,000, which, if I remember correctly, which I don't,
I'm pulling it up to double check.
I know it's in text somewhere.
It is at $1,000 stretch goal. All of top 8 gets paid out.
Oh, that's huge.
So if this makes it to the $1,000, then if you make it out of your pool, you are in the money. At $1,100, Bunch does the ice bucket challenge on stream and dunks himself with some cold water. So if you want to embarrass the landlord of the Casa here and make Bunch do something sus on stream, that is the goal. Bunch in the chat confirming, yes, 2 p.m. East Coast time.
Which, Brad, I don't know if you remember this as well, but one of our social media people, Dan Cravat, said that if we make it to $1,000 in the Maturino pod for tomorrow, they will contribute the $100 to get us to that Bunch dunk. So $20 equals $100 equals the Bunch ice bucket challenge.
Oh, well, I mean, that's going to get done. That's all that'll take. I absolutely trust this community.
Oh, hey, look at that. We hit $1,000. Hey, Dan Cravat and Bunch, get prepared because we did it.
Well, there we go. Top 8 payout.
Round 1.
Secured.
Fight.
There we go. Awesome. Well, just in time for grand finals, Punk versus Shine. Punk coming in from the winner's side, representing the Ken straight at the gate. Okay, already bringing out the Fierce DPs through the fireballs.
This is actually insane. Already so exploded. Well below half HP, only 20 seconds into the round, and these buttons are only getting bigger. Here comes the knife, and he grabs him out of the V reversal. That's huge pressure gain.
Okay, finds the back throw, and we've got the knife loaded. Challenges, okay.
Throws him back again.
Yeah, the EX dive kick with back into the throw. That gray life is going to make a difference here.
It is going to add up a little bit, but Punk must have been watching that last set. They are well aware of the damage this knife can do. The full cash out, not enough, just barely to win the round, but it's a pixel left here for Shine, and they only have so much they can do at this point. One more hit with the knife will throw it away, and it's just the light kick to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Punk was really double, triple shimmying in those spots, but you can only submit to take the throw so many times, especially when taking the throw will kill you. Finding the enhanced zonk for the wall bounce combo here. Ooh, in the perfect spot to find the anti-air through the dive kick attempt to get out on the side of Punk.
Punk has trigger, by the way, so only needs one. Is just going to spend the EX for the DP, though. Holding onto that trigger. May need to reversal at some point, but they actually go raw for it. Huge damage output here from the Cody. Back to mid-screen, though, which, I don't know, you have so much room to back up if you're Punk. You can just kind of hold back.
But I think the difference is, I feel like Shine is, oh my god, that anti-air in that spot, and you have that much time for that confirm? Okay. Shine finding it. Yeah, so what I was going to say is, I feel like Ken kind of wants you to be cornered a little bit more, is what we've been seeing. Shine has been super content to keep walking back really constantly and play this mid-screen game when he is not the one that is the aggressor in the corner.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen pockets in a lot from Shine when they do get cornered as well. And so, you know, it's sand, it's hit or miss, but with your back to the wall, you've nowhere to go. So it's up to Punk to then keep applying that pressure. We've seen throw loops in the past from Punk here already tonight. So it is now with the knife out, Punk's running a little scared.
Ooh. Oh, no follow-up after the fact, though.
CA?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're dead
he's
here.
alive. Oh, all right. First time I'm wrong tonight, but that was a grip of damage. That was actually huge. Holy crap.
Yeah, that was chunks. Big cash out, but working out. Shine taking the first game. Once again, Shine coming in from the loser side. So Punk has plenty of time to make some of these adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, man, we could actually go the full distance, 10 games, 30 rounds. That's a lot of games. I think that would actually make it the longest tournament we've ever had on top of everything else going on here tonight. Just like that, though, Punk is looking to bring it down. The sand connects. It's in his eyes. He can no longer see.
Never unlearned sand attack. Been with him since level 3.
It took me a second to get where you were going with that, but I fully
I brought
understand.
it back to the Pokemon references. Ooh,
Yeah.
Finding purchase is Punk with all of these low pokes, cashing out with the V-Trigger to close out the round.
Yeah, the big ol' suck there right at the end makes it quite difficult for Shine to get away. And look at this, we're back to the corner. We're probably going to spend a lot of time here in this left side corner, and the shimmy connects. It needs one more sequence for stun. Back throw is enough instead. And with the CA available, that will be it here for game number 2.
Wow, what an answer. Closing it out with the perfect as well. 1 game to 1.
Ken wins.
That's a really thorough answer, right? Like that was a really quick game to answer back with. Punk obviously acclimating back. I mean, like we said earlier, Punk was coming off of playing a Marvel match apparently. So meanwhile, Shine coming in having just played losers final, so obviously Shine is warm. Oh my god, the hit confirms off these low forwards. I feel like the only spots where Punk is missing on these low forward hit confirms are on the V-Trigger activations.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an odd trigger choice too. So I mean, it might not be the most practiced piece of the kit so far here for Punk. Whereas like your standard hit confirms, those transfer quite nicely across a bunch of different characters. And so, you know, as we continue to watch here tonight, it's definitely gotten better for Punk in terms of trigger activations. We see an errant one every now and then, but from the first time we saw him in top 8 to now, they definitely look a lot more solid.
EX Stonk from Shine, working your way out of the corner. Checking that forward offense. Shine has the life lead, but ooh, with punish with the V-Trigger. Okay, I see you, Punk.
Yeah, definitely listening to us here, trying to, you know, make us hit our words. Is the sand not going to connect that time? But, oh, the big whiff punish. Even goes for the jump-in style points, just to really make sure they drove that point home of, you can't just raw DP me, man. I'm not going to take that.
Just because I don't need to be optimal doesn't mean I won't be optimal.
True. But, you know, fanciness. And so, man, are we just going to trade game after game after game? Because at this pace, it means we will get the reset here tonight. And, I mean, both players here have other characters they can go to at a certain point, right? Like, you know, Punk has shown a lot of usage across the entire cast, and we've already seen the Lucia tonight here from Shine, and it was actually really clean.
Ooh, no hit confirmed there, unfortunately. Any poke will do it for Shine here. Punk not gonna has V-trigger.
Oh, no.
Look at these crouching shorts.
This may,
Shine is trying.
he only needs one little trade and even goes for the sand attempt, but V-reversal, things are looking quite scary, but it is finally going to come through with the crouch jab.
Yeah, I mean, if that went on for much longer, Shine was gonna get CA and be able to kill with Chip. So that was basically the second Punk gave Shine the room to start hitting buttons again defensively. That round was kind of over. So 2-1 presently with Shine up over Punk for the bracket reset. Ooh, okay. Challenging and attempted another poke.
Oh,
that was
a
weird.
bit late. Trades on the DP too. Was just the normal DP. And so back against the wall, Shine's actually been looking pretty tight here so far this set. Game 2 specifically, I think they did a really good job playing defensively. But with that activation time, Punk's turn to go on the offensive. They get a little bit of damage here as the throw comes through, and they just wake up buttons.
No, it was Wake Up Pocket Sand, I think, but gotten blown up by the meaty back strong from Punk. Cleaning it out, gonna be able to go into the next round fully loaded.
So Brad, chat's over here giving out best online titles to both of these players, best Cody and best Ken respectively. I don't know if I'm ready to give that verdict over. I mean, especially in a tournament that didn't have any of the LI crew, right?
I mean, for Cody, I can't talk about best Codys and not bring up Soundboy, who I'm really loving watching over in EU. Okay,
That's EU, though.
dominant.
That's different.
Whoa, how you gonna
It's different. It's
gonna hate like that?
different. I'm not hating. It's different, Brad. It's like orange juice and apple juice. It's just different.
Okay, well, anyway, as I disregard your plain blasphemy, Shine with the knife trying to work out. Punk sitting pretty. Oh, are you going to be able to? What is the damage on the EX Tatsu here? Is that going to be enough? No, needs one more hit to do it.
But it's just fireball game now, right? Yeah.
Evidently.
There wasn't a whole lot for Shine to try and break through that. You would have had to zonk or sway or something, and the EX just covers both of those, I think.
Well, damn. 2 games to 2.
Do it. Reset. Reset. Reset.
So back and forth.
I mean, it's Shine's turn to win, folks. I mean, we've seen 4 games of it now. It's simply their turn. And Mom said it's their turn to win the game.
Right. She said you have to give me the controller.
Exactly. Maybe next time it'll be your turn.
I hated that so much.
Just have 2 controllers, Brad. Like, come on now.
Pretty methodical game to open this up so far, but Punk finds the first hit to start to open this stuff up. Shine slowly inching his way out of the corner. Ooh, a whiff punish, but not finding a whole lot after it. I think one of the things is all of these whiff punishes that aren't capitalizing into much after it is really unfortunate. I think if Shine was more comfortable buffering into like medium kick ruffian, this could be huge. Instead, we're gonna see the CA from Punk in the corner. Gonna
And
kill,
it was
and now,
enough.
yeah, Punk on tournament point.
This is kind of crazy. It is, you know, basically full meter here for Shine as well. Is going to be able to cash out a little bit of that to try and take him to the corner. But this is kind of shaky ground, right? Like, this is the first lead that Punk's had here in Grand Finals. And with it being tournament point, you definitely can smell the blood in the water here if you're Punk.
Yeah. And once again, we saw a counter hit crouch strong that just didn't go to anything. I'm seeing all of these kind of errant hits that we're seeing from Shine that aren't going into anything. And it's a real shame, because if these were capitalized into meaningful damage, and even just the damage, let alone the fact that you get these knockdowns and you
Oh no, that's huge.
do stuff from yourself.
CA
Punk very
just
near.
about.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh wait,
Right.
the knife's out, Brad. The infinite coming in, the infinite range, infinite hits done.
But Punk sitting has the V-Trigger activated already. The whiff punish, and that into CA is gonna kill, I believe.
No, it's
No,
not.
he whiffed it!
Again!
He whiffed it again!
That's not enough to. It is enough for kill. Oh, it's final round, Brad. We might get the reset. We might have a tournament victor. This is insane. It's so close because that is not the first time Punk has gone for that exact play and it not worked.
We've seen him make the adjustments. I figured that was a momentary thing, but no, still a little bit loose there.
Maybe it doesn't link. I don't actually know that interaction because it's trigger to Ken. How often do you see that?
But we've seen it link. That's the fourth time I think we've seen a V-Trigger
Have we?
facing CA activation, and it's gone 2 and 2.
Huh.
I
I
think
don't
it
know.
was just late.
Goldfish brain, commentator brain as they call it. But I mean, look at this. It's so close. It's basically CA available for both. The knife activation will become available. Pocket sand. Oh, that could have been
so
it.
smart. So smart from Punk. Backs off, and because the hammer into activation is the de facto route, has to activate naked, does shine, starting to work your way out of the corner. You have so much damage on deck, actually, as both players. Ooh.
That's
and
it.
you're done! The low strong buffer into the CA as Punk takes it. We talk about it all the time. One of the best aspects of Punk as a player is the fantastic hit confirm ability. We saw it with the Karen, but it's not Karen specific. It can happen anywhere. It can happen anytime. It can happen low strong CA in the grand finals of Casa 49.
Yeah, so Punk is your tournament champion of the night. Be sure to look ahead to that as we do get Bunch joining us here in the commentary booth as well.
Yo, fucking whip punished.
Sure did.
He got his fucking knife pushed back. Oh shit. Words of Palkia.
Not on stream, Bunch. That's
Inside jokes.
That'll get you demonetized.
Oh, man,
No one knows what we're talking about.
Woo.
Let's stay there.
Hey, Bunch, did you see the match, Reno?
Yes, I did. I'm taking a shower. Oh man, with ice. That's stupid. Yo, yeah, so damn. House party is tomorrow and there's $1,100 up for grabs. So if you make top 8, you get paid. So if you're interested in that, the Smash GG is still live. You can still sign up for it. I see a lot of Street Fighter players in the chat, so please feel free to click on that. And yeah, definitely definitely considers playing in the tournament tomorrow. It starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's gonna be 4 different streams. If you're not gonna play, you should definitely watch. Shout outs to Get Good FGC, Incendium, Trace Complete, and this lovely stream right here. Damn it, Dom. We're all gonna be running 4 groups of, it looks like 31 players right now, but you could be 32, 33, 34. Yeah, please come through, support, play for a shot of making some money. All you have to do is make top 2 in your pool now, and you are guaranteed money, no matter what. And yeah, shout outs Red Bull, shout outs Maturino, shout outs Grinding Coffee Co., shout outs MetaView, and shout outs to streamer Damn It Dom, shout outs to commentators, Dr. Brad, Team Chris, Monkey Business, Dormancy, Sammy Fish, Makoto Fox, Liston, Michael Dink, the Wonder Twins, and KO the Poet. And yeah, I'm out of here. I gotta get ready for tomorrow. It's gonna be a long day. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, and that is gonna be just about it for us here at the Friday night events. And I mean, what a crazy event. It's only gonna get better from here, folks. Tomorrow is lights out. multiple streams, multiple events, multiple giveaways. You're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah, no, not at all. It is the place to be as far as I'm concerned. I think with that, it is late. It is 12:30 a.m. Eastern, and I'm sure everybody else wants to be set free. I want to go and grab some water. I'm sure Dom wants to go and grab some water and stuff. So I think with that, we can leave you. I have been Brad. Thank you, Doc, for joining me. And thanks, Dom, for putting on the stream and obviously everything else. Thanks, everybody who was watching. Everybody be safe. Have a good night.